The return of Mr. H this morning on Midnight's Edge in the Morning. Yay! Fight! Mortal Kombat is back, baby! And so are we on Midnight's Edge in the Morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is where you is. I want to thank you for being here with us. I didn't get any sleep last night, but for good reason. I hope many of you did get some sleep. If not, you stayed up watching Mortal Kombat like I did. But we have a special guest with us this morning. Mr. H is back. How you doing?
I'm good. I wouldn't count myself as a special guest, but nice to be here, regardless. Cheers.
You are our special guest this morning. And we also have hanging out with us Paulie from Latino Slant and the upcoming channel Midnight's Edge Espanol.
Sí. Hola.
And we also have the Reverend Harry Krishna.
Greetings, salutations, and blessings upon you.
And, of course, the boss man, Andre.
Greetings, everyone, and thanks for being here. Really appreciate that that you chose to make us part of your day.
Finish him.
And as you all can tell, there's going to be plenty Mortal Kombat talk today.
Well,
but if you haven't seen the movie, don't worry, we're not going to spoil anything just yet. We'll be plenty warnings.
Except Chun-Li does not make an appearance at all.
Yes, no, I was very disappointed. They really needed to put Chun-Li in there. For shame, indeed.
Oh, there's got to be some reason for that, surely.
Surely.
Yeah, surely.
Not even a tease, no homage, nothing.
Well,
not even a sequel bait for it. I mean, unbelievable.
Well, they're probably saving for the third movie.
Retro Amateur says, no Chun-Li, pass. Yeah, I think we all should have took that advice. No, I'm just kidding. We'll get into what we feel about that very soon. And then Prince Andrew's like, no. And John Apocalypse asks, the question of the hour, is the Mortal Kombat movie worth waiting to see in theaters? We'll get to that. We will definitely get to that, John Apocalypse. So hang on to that thought. Let's say hello to the few other people we got here, like Prince Andrew, Nikki D. Welcome. Love seeing Brightest Day here every day. Mecha J. We also have here as well. Natasha, our lovely wrench, is here. Fractal Jack. And do check out all the links that Natasha is sharing. One of the links she's sharing is for one of Mr. H's new channel. If you like cars, check that out. He does a car channel as well.
Well, what did you do? Like car restorations, isn't it?
So obviously it doesn't blend over for a lot of people that are into movies. But one of my, if anyone has seen what I look like, my two major passions are fitness and then cars. And I'm currently rebuilding a Nissan Pulsar GTI-R, which is a very, if you know anything about cars, you'll go, oh, okay, wow, that's very unusual. It's Nissan's Group A rally homologation special from the 90s. They only made them for 4 years, and they only made 14,000 worldwide. It's a very rare little car. So I'm currently rebuilding that, and I've got my friend's R32 Skyline GTR on it as well, which is pretty insane. So I've just started that. I started it a while ago, but we're uploading 3 times a week now. Really, just having fun with it, really. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there's always an upload at 6 p.m. GMT time. So if you're into cars remotely or just interested in, I guess, some unusual cars that maybe you're never going to see in the States anyway, head on over to that channel. It's called Car Nonsense. It's such a good bit of fun, really.
So, I think you'd be surprised how much people are into cars because, that Top Gear show and all that kind of stuff is always a big deal. And
yeah, that is true. That is very, very true. I just never think it, I never told even my own subscribers for a really long time because I don't know, I never thought that it would cross over that much. But I've started to talk about it a bit more now.
Well, just about everybody drives, in America at least, and and anything you can do to make because driving. Listen, I hate driving as much as the next guy, but because it's rather mundane. You're stuck in traffic. You have to deal with, and like George Carlin said, anybody going slower than you is an idiot. Anybody going faster than you is a maniac. So, but anything that makes it more tolerable, it makes it enjoyable.
When I see an accident, I slow down.
Excuse me, can you move the body over here?
I want to see some shit. I want to see some carnage.
My wife has never seen a human being quite deformed like that.
It ain't me.
That was interesting.
Jack Hudson says with a $2 super sticker. I don't have the sticker up here. What is it, Andre?
Let's see. Give me 1 second, and I shall refresh and find out. It's a little China Ibu, so it's a little doggy.
Ooh, the doggy. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that. And then we got
doggy.
A what?
The Doge doggy, or
however. Doge doggy.
Yeah.
Let's
go. Douche doggy.
Let's go. Okay, let's just go around.
Well, actually, they're called Red Devils, so they are that too.
What were you saying, Rob?
All right, let's just go around very quickly. What was everybody the first car you ever owned?
Dodge. What's the equivalent of a Ford Escort? I can't even think of the
Dodge Neon.
Yeah, a little Dodge. No, it was older than that.
Okay, like a Dodge.
Yeah, it was like a little Ford Escort, but it was the Dodge version or whatever.
Okay.
I owned. Sorry.
Mr. H. No, I'm sorry, Mr. H. Go ahead.
No. I owned an old Toyota Corolla, one of those really big bug eye ones. Okay. Terrible car. But my
second car was actually better, but yeah.
I will say this for the Toyota Corolla, ran it into oblivion. The only reason I had to give that car up was I went over a speed bump too quickly and it ripped the entire oil sump out.
Oh,
but that thing would just last and last and last and last.
Yeah.
Gutted I had to get rid of it in the end because it was a piece of crap, but some good times with that car. It was good fun. But some people have actually asked whether what the name of the channel is. I believe Andre actually put it in the description box.
Yes,
so if you are interested,
I didn't put the channel name, but I put the channel link, and I described it as Mr. H's car channel. So it should be fairly easy to find.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, the actual name of the channel is Car Nonsense.
Car Nonsense.
I can I'll update it with that.
And I just subbed.
Paulie, your first car?
Oh god, a Chevy Chevette yellow.
Okay,
yeah, those are good.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that is. This is the thing about.
See what I'm talking about? What he's talking about, they're all the same kind of car. They're all like little Yugo fuckers.
Really?
There's a
Yugo.
Well, let me because I want to impress Mr. H for a second there. Not with the Chevette, because I had to have a piece of like a wood block behind it for the seat to stay up. But then my uncle gifted him. This is all in college, so I just would run cars into the ground. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Right.
It was just because I wasn't into cars. But for some weird reason, my uncle gifted me his '65 Ford Falcon. Oh God, Mr. H, I loved that damn car.
These are not cars. Again, this is what I mean. The difference between from across the pond. Like we don't get your cars over here.
No.
Like there's certain Ford cars which are made over here, and that's all we get. We don't get anything else. It's very rare for them to import. In fact, the Mustang has only recently been imported over because the right hand swap that they do to put the steering obviously on the right, they actually reduce horsepower, believe it or not.
Oh, gotcha.
In the right-hand version. So we genuinely don't get a lot of American cars over here, and our roads are really small as well by comparison, which is crazy.
I don't know if you've ever seen one. It's heavy. It looks like a little rocket ship. It's so retro and it had a lot of balls, man.
Oh, I love retro. I've got an old Datsun 720 pickup truck which I imported from Thailand with a SR20 DET swapped in it. So it's this little turbo pickup mini truck thing. It's the weirdest thing.
Is that on Car Nonsense?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And in fact, it's just had a custom exhaust put on it, which makes it even weirder. So it's so funny. I love weird and just unusual cars, just dumb stuff that shouldn't exist. I love it.
Andre, your first car?
Volkswagen Passat.
Oh, okay. My first car was a 1980 Volkswagen Scirocco.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And I had to get rid of it because my idiot brother Mark burned the clutch out on the highway.
He made it better.
Yeah, exactly. the accelerator got stuck, and he put it into like fourth or fifth gear, and the clutch wouldn't catch, and it went. I said, and he was driving it like an idiot. I let him drive it. Is the clutch not grabbing? No. Then I heard a bang. I said, "You just ruined the clutch, didn't you?" Shut up! I made it better. I'm like, yeah, you made my car your car, asshole.
Yeah, I've heard that story a couple times.
Yeah,
my second car was a Mustang though.
H, you know that little compartment in European cars just under the glove box that just there's that used to be that little like compartment you keep like gloves or papers or whatever.
Yeah, I always recall it, the little glove box. Yeah.
Americans would always break those because they put their feet up on them. So he insisted on putting his feet up on it, and I said, "Get your foot off of that." Shut up! Get your foot off of that. Why? I said, because it's the only thing in this car that's not broken, and you're gonna break it. Now get your fucking foot off of that. So he took his foot off of it, and then a couple minutes later he put it back up. Get your foot off of that. Sure enough, we hit a pothole. He broke it. I said, you see, you weren't gonna be happy until you broke it. Oh, shut up! I made it better.
Oh my god!
No, you got a footrest.
Wow, with friends like these, who needs?
This is why we are working on a series called My Brother Dave. It's just basically an amalgam of all of
Rob's brother
Rob
stories.
bitching about his brother. Yeah. That's what it's going to be.
Oh, there's no shortage of stories.
Oh, there's no shortage at all. And then Michael Gonzalez says, speaking of Rob, waiting for the Axel Braun Asian female pudding wrestling parody, Immortal Contact, with plenty of oomph sound effects from the Immortals song. Too soon? Not at all. I think Rob would probably rather watch that because he's the only one here who didn't watch Mortal Kombat. Then Stephen Otten says, hail Andre, Tom, special guest Wrenches, and everyone in the chat. There's a rumor that there's a new Mortal Kombat movie. Anything to the rumors? Yeah, it's true, and there's no Chun-Li in it. So I'm very disappointed. Very disappointed.
Don't give out those spoilers, man.
Godzilla isn't in it either. That's the other thing. I thought Godzilla would be there, and My Little Pony.
And Rocky. I thought Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky.
You're thinking of the Revenge of Shinobi. That's where Godzilla was.
Really?
Wonder. Yeah, that's another Sega game, and I kid you not, it actually had Godzilla.
I was gonna say, I think I kind of vaguely remember that, and that's the last of the super chats I can bring up on screen. I don't know if there's any before that.
Oh, of course there are. We have a number here, so I'm going to go through a couple of them.
As far as the old ones, anyway.
Yeah, some of the classic super chats. So we do not want to.
While you're doing that,
based on age here.
Well, we got that one already. So yeah, I think we're caught up on the newer ones. Maybe.
Yeah, the older one. The first one we got today was
one
from
more.
Alex Acera, who says for $9.99. Now we can't bring this up on screen, so you're just gonna have to listen. But Alex Acera says, "Hey Bob Chapek, please hire Joey Ansa and his team to make Street Fighter for you. Pay Capcom what they ask and give Joey full creative control. The world will give you Fort Knox if you do." Now, I do believe that Joey Ansa, he's the guy who did the Street Fighter Assassin's Fist, yes? If so, I wholeheartedly agree, because that's fantastic. Have any of you seen Street Fighter Assassin's Fist?
No, is this a project?
Yeah, is it a fan thing? Because I never heard of it.
It started out as a fan thing. It was like crowdfunded and everything like that.
Okay.
But then it turned out so good that some external investors stepped in and said, cancel that whole funding thing. We'll fund you. And it turned out so good that Capcom even endorsed it as, this is like an official installment in like the Street Fighter franchise. So it's one of the best fan productions ever made, and it's incredible. If you haven't seen it, look for it. Street Fighter Assassin's Fist. You can thank me later.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's 10 times better than any Street Fighter movie.
We talked about that before, Tom. Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
All I remember is that Nick Cage movie that's like Mortal Kombat you always talk about. Ninjutsu.
You know what? I did not mention Nick Cage or Jiu-Jitsu, but
or Jiu-Jitsu, yeah.
Everyone needs to watch that movie.
It is Mortal Kombat on crack. With a Predator.
Well, it's got Tony Jaa. That's about it.
I mean, the concept sounds like it would kick ass, but I've never seen it, and from what I heard from the boys,
yeah, pretty bad.
Basically, the concept is Mortal Kombat meets Predator.
Yeah.
Is this that jiu-jitsu thing?
Yeah, jiu-jitsu.
Oh, no, that's awful. I've reviewed it. It's that film is so bad it's not even funny. Like it's actually just awful. It's horrendous.
Correct. What was the name of the? What was the name of this one again? It was
literally
Jujitsu.
jujitsu.
Okay.
And an alien comes down and teaches everyone jujitsu. It's
Even
so
though
bad.
it's not jujitsu.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Like it's so bad.
Yeah. It was pretty. I was telling them, Mr. H, my jujitsu teacher is in there, is in it. He's got one of the roles in there, and he manages
In
to
the
get
film.
in the film, and he manages to get a
Yeah.
crucifix.
Why didn't he
off-
go? This ain't fucking jujitsu.
Well, he's the only one in the movie where he actually does a jujitsu move, a crucifix on the monster, but then the monster kills him.
Oh,
But I was like, that's my
Honestly,
teacher. Yeah.
That film was utterly horrendous. The alien. Oh God, I don't understand who.
Designed him.
Oh, it's just. It is awful. and like I quite like bad movies. Like this is so so bad. It's good level. It was very difficult to recommend, but I also sort of wanted to recommend it, but also sort of not. Just for people to watch it out of curiosity, I guess, like morbid curiosity. But it's not anyone watching this, guys. Don't watch it. Like it's not. Even with beer, I think you would struggle. Like, it's not that good.
Well, I mean, if you're into Nick, I would see it.
No, I didn't think he was very cagey in it. I don't think he was very Nick Cagey in it, to be fair.
Yeah, it was pretty silly. Yeah, you're right. Not in a Nick Cagey way. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, we digress. So we're here to talk about the real Mortal Kombat now.
Yeah,
Yes.
we are, but we have a couple of more super chats
Yeah,
before
let's-
we can talk about the real
push those
Mortal
up real quick.
Kombat. Matt G, he sent us 2 super chats in a row in reference to the title where Cecil was advertised as the original guest. I honestly don't know what happened with that.
Yeah, I think he forgot.
Maybe he still passed out and didn't wake
That's
up.
what I'm thinking. I think he forgot, and he was streaming really late last night. So I warned Andre. I'm like, yeah, we may want to make a backup just in case. So we got a hold of Mr. H and made sure he was here because I didn't think he was going to show up. And probably,
I was going to get a hold of Mr. H anyway because
Yeah, I was going to say,
I have seen Mortal Kombat.
I was just going to say, as far as talking about Mortal Kombat,
anyone else
Mr. H is probably the better choice anyway. Because I'll tell you what I can give you the Cecil review of Mortal Kombat. Probably bunch of people just fight around in pajamas. That's kind of like my childhood.
Oh dear.
That
Hello.
does sound so we're just about right, actually. I have to check, did he show up or was that Tom?
Yeah, right. No, I think he passed out on us, so that's all right. He may pop in later, but I doubt it.
Yeah. I already removed him from the title and everything. And then Matt G also says, and this is in reference to the stream in which Cecil passed out. Thanks for your solo stream, Cecil. This is Cecil in persecution, dying for your sins. The martyrdom is real. Yeah, so real that he didn't show up here. That's how real it is.
Well, we can't help it. He has a pimp to make sure he stays drunk. So
exactly. That would be Anna, that Star Wars girl. And then we have HBG3 who says, I couldn't even finish the movie. It was so bad.
Oh.
SMH. Really? Which movie were you watching? Surely not the same one we were watching. But,
Wow.
well, opinions may differ. And then Stephen Otten. We got this one already.
Okay.
And then we had... Tom, you got the one about... waiting for Axel Brown, Asian female pudding. Yeah, we got that one. And we got the John Apocalypse. Wondered if it was worth seeing in theaters. We'll get to that. Durao On sent a little Pearl Man super sticker. Hyper Guyver 2, he's going real retro, saying, test your might, which is pretty awesome.
they actually dropped that line.
Yeah, and House Atreides says, finished watching In Search of Darkness, documentary of 80s horror movies. Anyone else seen this? It's 4 hours long. Part 2 is next. Another 4 hours. LOL. Yeah, we have. We have seen it. It's great. And check out. Oh, I didn't put the link for that, but for In Search of Tomorrow, the next documentary from the same guys, we have an affiliate link for you that I'll put in the description later on. And Malissi D. Wildman says, Andre, is this a real Mortal Kombat movie? Did Toasty Man Ed Boon make a cameo?
We'll have to wait for the spoilers.
Yeah, we'll wait. Yeah, we'll get into that in the spoilers. We'll do that. And with that, we have a couple more, but we're mostly caught up now. So I know actually we're going to do the ones that were relevant to what we were talking about just now. Stephen Alton said no Godzilla or Nick Cage. Fuck it, I'm out. And Rob Bass says Mortal Kombat was okay for me, but it wasn't woke. And Destiny Captain says, Mr. H, do we have any Alien or Predator news? Now, of course, as you all, well, if you don't know, you should know that of all of us here on the panel, the resident specialist in Alien and Predator and all related matters is Mr. H Reviews. What's going on in the world of Alien and Predator, respectively?
Well, I guess some interesting things with Predator. The original writers are suing Disney and being sued back, which is a very interesting suit because Disney were the ones which set the precedent for public domain copyright. Basically, they were the ones which extended it because they didn't want to lose sight of Mickey Mouse. So in terms of fighting copyright law and, things being in their favor, it tends to look quite positive on Disney, but there's also quite a large precedent already set by the standards of which the writers are trying to get their original copyright back. So it's almost a David versus Goliath situation. I mean, it is a David versus Goliath situation, but not as clear cut as people think, because a lot of people are like, Disney's just going to win. But I actually no, that's what I mean. That there is a large precedent to show that they actually have a large chance of losing this. So that's the main issue currently with Predator, but that will also halt. And anyone would have seen this. They've delayed the release of Predator comic books as well, because now this puts it in a sort of an arbitrary limbo. Much like Friday the 13th was for so long, basically. It also potentially will delay the Predator 5 movie, which they are actually currently location scouting for at this point in time. And they're due to start shooting in a couple of weeks' time. A couple of weeks' time is either end of May into June. I know that they pushed it back as well, and I think they had to push it back because of this potentially. But that will potentially delay them even starting that film, which is, a lot of people will say rejoice, and a lot of people will say, oh, and that's a shame. To me, the ultimate situation here will be that the writers will. I want them to get the rights back, even if they're just going to sell it on. I don't care personally. I just want it away from Disney, because the writers have never shown any disdain for their product. They've never shown any hatred for what they created. They've just come along now and gone, oh, well, we're working within the bounds of the law. Let's get our rights back, which is perfectly fine, I think. In terms of Alien, no major news. Marvel have been producing the Aliens Marvel comics, and they're bad. They're real bad. Very lazy. They've been tracing NECA figures and things like this. I've been reviewing them on my channel. They're just bad, real lazy. Lots of member berries, lots of, it's the Hadley's Carrier. It's like, oh God, seriously, come on now. Do you remember Hadley's Hope, guys? Do you remember? Like, sod off. They're, and as well, they're really cheaping out on what they're providing. So the Aliens comics, the most recent issue, cover to cover is something like 23 pages, but there's only 19 pages of actual content, and the story has barely progressed. So I don't know what they think that they're sort of selling there, but I wouldn't say 19 pages where some of the pages are just, actual artwork, but not artwork because it's traced. I don't think that's a good deal. Maybe I'm too used to like trade paperbacks and things like that, but like compilation stuff. I don't know, but yeah, real bad. No major news outside of that, ladies and gents. But yeah, watch this space for the Predator Disney lawsuit, because that's going to be very interesting. Like really, really interesting.
Yeah, I like that 35-year rule. It's one of the few things we have to combat the Mickey Mouse law.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if anyone saw the article, but the article, I can't remember whether it was a Deadline or a Hollywood Reporter article, one of the two. Their phrasing of this was just brown nosing Disney. It was horrendous. They literally said that the writers were what were they seeking to something like basically it was like seeking to take advantage of this loophole. And it's like, no, they're actually just working within the bounds of the law.
Yeah.
I can't remember the phrasing.
And it's like they're just doing this now because Disney just announced they're doing this with Predator.
It was very strange and so very blatant as to what the motives behind the website that produced that. I mean, it was a mainstream media pundit that had done it, but it was just disgraceful. You wouldn't say that James Cameron took advantage of the law.
No, they kissed his ass.
Yeah, exactly. When he got Terminator rights back, no, that's literally working within the bounds of the law, and it's exactly the same here. They just want to work within the bounds of the law, get the copyright back, and then if they want to sell it on, they want to sell it on. Who cares? But it seems everyone's against them, at least in mainstream media wise, which is a shame, to be honest, because I didn't see anyone doing the same thing when other people have recently tried to get the rights back to things. It's a shame because there's even Gail Ann Hurd, isn't there? Gail Ann Hurd is trying to get the rights back to. Is it Terminator? I think she was trying to get the rights back to.
Well, she's been involved with many things.
I think that she did it with James.
She had a stake in Terminator.
Yeah, I think she was trying to get that back. And you didn't see anyone, hating on her for that either. It's just a shame, but there you go. There's all my my news up to date on that stuff. Anyway, to what I know. But Predator 5, hopefully it doesn't get made because it does actually sound very, very bad. If anyone's a fan of Predator as a franchise and they understand the law, they will know that a 17-year-old, 19-year-old Comanche girl facing off against Predator is. That's a shitty idea, and that's what Predator.
That's a worse idea than Olivia Munn.
Yeah, I mean, at least you can drool over Olivia Munn, I guess, legally.
It's
legally.
Disney.
Oh my God.
It's Disney. Are you really surprised they want to pit a 16-year-old girl?
No, this was greenlit in the Fox days. Actually, it's been going for about 4 or 5 years now. Believe it or not.
Who owned it when Rodriguez produced it in 2010?
Fox.
Oh, it was Fox.
Yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
It's just it's a 35-year law where a sole creator or creators can go back and get the copyright of something that they created.
It's and Disney's trying to extend the copyright based on like a book loophole. It's like, no, that doesn't work here.
Then their next argument is going to be work for hire in some way. That's usually the argument that's gone to.
Yes. Yeah. But that's actually an argument which you guys can use if you ever want to read scripts out. Because obviously I've done a lot of script work on my channel, like reading scripts and things. And I've had, I actually had one I couldn't resolve, which was Panos Cosmatos came and his legal team was like, this needs to be removed within X, Y, and Z time. Otherwise, it's going to take you to court, etc., etc. And I had to find out what sort of loophole they were working with to try and get their script back, because I thought it was a paid for script, so he didn't own it at that point, but he had actually owned the script, which meant I had no grounds to discuss it. But for you guys who ever want to cover any scripts, you can actually use that as a defense, believe it or not.
This summer, they're traveling through the galaxy to find the right prey. And then somebody dumped it right on their door. 3 predators and a baby.
You missed the stork. The stork's got to be there somewhere as well.
Yeah, the stork is the alien.
Ah, see.
On another note, I can't move my mouse. My dog is sitting on my damn cord.
Oh, I thought maybe your batteries died. I'm like, I hate it when that happens.
No, my dog literally sat on my cord. I'm like, get off.
And also, on another note, maybe we should start getting into some Mortal Kombat
let's do that
discussion.
Okay, sorry, guys.
No. Before we get into that, I want to hear what's all your history with Mortal Kombat, Mr. H. How far do you and Mortal Kombat go back, and what does the franchise mean to you?
No, I mean, I'm literally just a casual gamer with Mortal Kombat. I've dipped in and out of the franchise for years and years and years. So in terms of like what it means to me, I understand it on a very rudimentary level, but like I've looked into the lore in terms of trying to review the movie and going into this film just to try and see what they had covered and things like this. But it doesn't mean a great deal to me. Like I liked it in the same way that I liked playing Tekken. You know, I'm not comparing it to Tekken, FYI, but I liked it in the same way that I liked playing Tekken. It was just an enjoyable game for me. I was never like a mega fan. I just found, it was cool. Someone I picked up and played, and that was about it for me.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Is Rob here, or has he checked out?
I'm here.
What does Mortal Kombat mean to you?
Played it, didn't like it very much, but I do have a sort of a history of Mortal Kombat. The senator from my state is the one that was holding all the hearings in Congress about Mortal Kombat, and I gladly voted against him.
Oh, was that when they were trying to like remove it or something like that?
Yeah.
God,
when they tried to cancel it, basically.
Back in the mid to early 90s,
prehistoric 90s cancellation attempt. Didn't work out too well.
I was going to say, outside when it comes to video game culture in history, the annals of history, right behind Pac-Man and Donkey Kong lies Mortal Kombat. I can't think of a game that was bigger in the 90s. I can't think of a game that probably sold more consoles in the 90s. And as you guys just said, I can't think of a game that was more controversial than Mortal Kombat ever, period. Hands down. It was
Grand Theft Auto before Grand Theft Auto.
And you would have thought that, kids were out there killing people because of this game, the way that the media was treating it. It was just crazy.
Well, it's the easiest campaign tactic. Run against sin. Oh my God! Will someone think of the children?
And speaking of campaigns, Mortal Kombat 2 probably had one of the most successful video game campaigns of all time. Probably outside of Mario, for what was it, Mario 3 or 2, whichever one it was. It's probably right behind there as far as video game sales too. I'm willing to bet the original Mortal Kombat or Mortal Kombat 2 are right up there. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but again, I was right there alive in the thick of this shit. Came out right at the time, perfect for me. I was 12 years old when the game came out. It was everything, everywhere. It was Mortal Kombat. It went from Ninja Turtles to Mortal Kombat. It was almost like graduation. It was kind of weird for me, but that's all I remember of that period of that time. It was just like Mortal Kombat everywhere, and everybody was playing it, whether it was at the arcade, on your system, whether you had the Sega, you were, that's the only time you really made fun of your friends who had a Super Nintendo because they had the crappy version.
I would imagine that it was like Blast Processing and Mortal Kombat. That would be like two big ones where the Sega owners really had.
Mortal Kombat made the Sega Genesis. Let's be real here. If it wasn't for Mortal Kombat, the Genesis probably would have eventually just kind of faded off. I'm willing to bet, at least in the US, for sure.
The Mega Drive's Genesis version was a lot better than the SNES version. I remember that.
Yeah, because
it was one of the driving forces for sure.
The graphics were better in the SNES version, and the sound too, I think. But the gameplay, provided you had the Mega Drive or Genesis 6-button controller, was better. Plus, it had the blood, the gore, and the fatalities.
Yep. Yeah, and of course, Street Fighter was huge at this time too, but not nearly as big as Mortal Kombat.
I was more a Double Dragon kind of guy.
That was a big game too.
Yeah, those are weird sound effects. It sounded like they're just like puking their guts out every time they got killed.
I would say the other thing about Mortal Kombat is it kind of reinvigorated the arcade in the age of the console, because that's when I remember a lot of people playing in the arcades as well. When arcades were kind of dying out because everybody already had it all at home. They didn't need to go to the arcade to play. True.
Yeah, very, very good points.
But I saw the original movie opening day, missed the first 10 minutes. The usher was nice enough to let us stay and watch the first 10 minutes again so we could actually see it. We ended up staying through the whole movie. So I saw it twice on opening day, technically. Anyway, Paulie.
Yeah, what did Mortal Kombat mean to you?
That's amazing.
I know, right?
Wow,
I was just a
I don't know if I could handle hearing that again. I think my mind is just fucking blown.
Paulie, never at a loss for words, are you?
I was adjusting my hat.
I can't talk to you right now. I'm wearing a towel.
You're a town.
Ponderous, man.
I-
It's fucking
have-
ponderous.
I have misplaced my pants.
Hey, I like the Starfighter.
So yeah, Paulie, you would have been
I was already past
an adult. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really into that techno music at the time. So I thought the song was killer.
Techno Syndrome.
Yeah, and Bridget Wilson was hot, and I really loved the movie. It was a lot of fun at the time, and and I love some of those actors. The Japanese American actor who was in it. He was also in American Me. I always liked him. He's got that striking face. I almost thought he was in it in the new one. And I've watched that film, from time to time, because it kind of reminds me of a different type of Enter the Dragon, where they go to an island and fight. But yeah, get over here, Paulie. Get over here. I loved all those things from the game. I do remember playing the game a little bit in the arcade. You are right. And it was a really big hit. That's all I got. I didn't watch TV shows or any other ones.
And as for me, I was, as most of you have figured out by now, I'm loyal to Sega Mega Drive till the end, or Genesis as you call it in the US, which was a better console because it was 60 hertz, but had a worse name. But anyway, I'm going to call it Sega Mega Drive because that's a real name. So I was always loyal to Sega Mega Drive. And Mortal Kombat was not only on the Sega Mega Drive, it was better on Sega Mega Drive. So that was pretty cool. So I was a big fan of the first game. I missed out on the second game. I got the third one, loved it, apart from the omission of Scorpion, which really sucked because he was my favorite character. Although Sub-Zero was rad in it, and Striker was pretty badass too. And then came Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 for the Sega Genesis. One of my favorite games of all time. I don't think that there are many games I have spent more time playing, having fun with, than that one, especially in co-op mode, playing with my friends and stuff like that. Absolutely love that game. I fell out of the Mortal Kombat franchise since then, because then it moved to PlayStation. I never got the PlayStation 1, so I didn't play Mortal Kombat 4, which was like the first to move into 3D, or really 2.5D. And I missed out on all the games on the PlayStation 2 because I didn't have any interest in them. I did get Mortal Kombat, the reboot. I think this would be the 7th in the line. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think like the original mythology and continuity ended on the final PlayStation 2 era game. And then it was like this Star Trek 09 style time travel alternate reality reboot. I got that one. Didn't play much on it, but that's one of the few games I actually do have on the PS3. But I kind of fell out of the franchise game-wise after Ultimate Mortal Kombat Part 3. Have like seen YouTube videos and stuff of all the celebrity cameos in later games, but haven't really played it. Did enjoy the first movie, especially at the time, but I was like a little bit disappointed with the limited role and screen times of Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and with them being slaves under Shang Tsung's power. So that sucked a little bit. And Mortal Kombat, the second movie, that was... I don't hate it as much as many others do. It was a waste of opportunity, but it's not completely without merit. If only it had Striker, I would have been something. And I did see the Mortal Kombat Conquest TV series, not the whole thing, but I got at least like the first 3, 4, 5 episodes something. So that was okay. Very like Hercules TV series style. You know, like the style of Hercules and Xena Warrior Princess is kind of like that style. And yeah, I didn't love it. Completely fell out of it. And then most recently, last year I saw the animated movie Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge or something, and that was amazing. And ever since I saw the trailer for this one, I've been really excited for it. So outside of Dune, this is honestly the movie of 2021 I've been the most excited for.
Yeah, I was very excited for this as well. I think the trailer dropped, and I was one of those people that was like, I think this is going to end up being pretty crap. And then the trailer dropped, and I was like, wow, this actually looks far better than it has any right being at this point. So what have they done? This actually looks pretty good.
Well, what's your history with the franchise? I don't think you got to really say it.
I already said it.
You started with the games, but not with the movies. How are you with the movies?
I've watched them. I've perused them. But again, not being, a huge... they're just guilty pleasures, basically. They're sort of, perused to guilty pleasure levels. But yeah, no, this... Are we going to do our opinions on this? Are we going to?
Yeah, sure. But first, let's continue with how excited you were going in. Then we can get into opinions.
Okay. Yeah, no. I think I don't know if I speak for everyone, but that trailer dropped, and I was like, God damn! Like this actually looks really decent. Like it was a very, very well cut trailer. Which is crazy to say in this day and age. That you have to applaud someone who's edited a trailer together, but most trailers are garbage in this day and age. They really are, and they did a fantastic job editing that trailer together. But it did actually look really, really good. I don't know, it built the hype for me anyway. Personally, as someone who was pretty against it, because I just thought, oh god, Mortal Kombat. You heard some bits and pieces about it, and then you sort of think, oh, Mortal Kombat movie, it's gonna be garbage in 2021 or whatever, 2020. You always think these things are going to be terrible anyway. And then the trailer dropped, and I was like, all right then. This actually has me really excited. I was very, very excited. For me, it was Godzilla vs. Kong and this, and then obviously June. These were my most excited. Sort of, looking forward to anticipated films of this year.
Awesome. All right. Well, Andre, where do you want to begin with this thing?
Oh, let's begin with Mr. H. You said you were really excited going in after being anxious to begin with. So, what did you think? General impressions. Were you pleased with it? And is this a movie that you would recommend seeing at home or in theaters?
So I've I don't know, about 10 minutes ago managed to release my review as well. And the title of that review says it all, right? It's a bad film that I really, really enjoyed. I had a really good time with this film. Like I laughed out loud in moments. I thought it was like I had a really, really good time with this film, but I still know it's a bad film. And I would still massively recommend it just because I genuinely had a great time with it. So as a film, like I'm entertained by it. But then, it does so much right, but it also does so much wrong as well. It's a really difficult film to sort of narrow down because everything that's wrong with it should make you hate the film. Right? There's so much wrong with it that make you go, no, this should be absolutely garbage. Like the lead is just a complete waste of space. Like someone who literally cannot act at all. Terrible actor. Literally, the girl playing his daughter in this film is better acting than him. This is the guy that campaigned to play Shang-Chi. I mean, no wonder you didn't get it. You have the acting capabilities of a plank of wood. You are absolutely terrible. But then everything else makes up for it. Hiroyuki Sanada. Good God. Why did they release that first 7 minutes on YouTube?
God.
Why?
Amazing.
That is amazing.
He's one of my good heroes.
There's so much amazing that's right with it, and then there's just a whole bunch of crap as well. So yeah, there's sort of. But I can massively recommend it. I would, yeah, hugely recommend it.
I mean, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say it goes to crap levels. It definitely has some issues here and there, but
really?
My well, I guess my first just overall impression.
Costume of the lead.
I'll get into minor little things here and there when we get to it. But like, considering some of the shit we have to deal with nowadays, like one of the super chats brought up earlier, it wasn't woke in the least. Like even some of the shit that people saw in the trailer that were kind of cringing, thinking it might be woke. Oh, don't even worry. None of that shit's here. None of it.
What was in the trailer that people?
Well, people are like, "Oh, they say finish them," so they're using pronouns. It's like, no, it totally makes sense in the scene the way it goes. So don't even worry about that shit. Perfect, and that's exactly what I said was going to happen.
I never picked up on that at all. I didn't.
No, there was a few people who were worried, and I'm like, yeah, I'll wait and see. No, I was kind of more worried about the story aspect of it because some of the stuff we were hearing from Script Doctor, but I enjoyed it. I liked how it was an adult-oriented film, but it didn't have to be all dark and dour and depressing. I mean, yeah, there's depressing elements to it. Don't get me wrong, but it was fucking fun. It reminded me a lot of Godzilla vs. Kong.
I mean, that made me that missing egg roll that made me very sad.
that was one of the best scenes of the movie. That Kano was so
Kano is like one of the standouts, yeah, without getting into too much.
Yeah, it was a funny scene.
Imagine if it was a woman and he was talking about the sandwich. That would be one way to cancel the movie.
But if I could give my first impression.
What's your sure, go for it.
Yeah, I'm on the lines with Mr. H on a lot of that. To me, it was wildly entertaining, and yet, you you notice the flaws. But I love the villains. I love the way everyone looked. I love the filming of Outworld, and
that was so good. That's a real location in Australia. That is
no shit. Wow,
it's a coal mine in Australia.
Yeah, I just love the way. I just thought they've it was a well filmed entertainment popcorn action movie. The martial arts was pretty weak.
Did you think? I thought that was really good.
No. We'll see. Going back to well,
wow.
I mean, can I give a martial arts spoiler? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Yeah.
So he's in the cage, and
but try to keep it to the martial arts specifically, and without giving.
Yeah. I'm going to get real specific.
But technically to the
Yeah. So and the lead is just he says so bad. He's especially when they have to act like it's a quiet scene with the daughter. You're just like cringe, or with the wife. It's like because like you said, the wife and the daughter are like really good. It's like I almost thought for a second, Mr. H, that the daughter was gonna with the bloodline was gonna pass to her because I was like, she's good.
Well,
use your uppercut. Anyways,
no, I almost predicted their fate perfectly, except for the very, very end. But yeah, anyway, go ahead.
So early on, when he's fighting his cage match or his MMA, he has he has an armbar position on his opponent, and I don't know how the opponent got out of it because you don't get out of that position the way he was locked in, and that to me is like always very sloppy fight choreography. To where you don't let someone just whirl when you got that deep position. First of all, it's pretty easy to break because the guy on the bottom was holding his two hands together. That's like your last line of defense when you're trying to defend against the armbar from that position. I'm a black belt. This is what I'm a black belt in. So I teach this.
So you're speaking from a very, very, very particular.
Right. Yeah, you're basically being a cop watching it.
No. I'm basically letting you know. Like, well, I mean, I'm not a normie. I'm not a normie with martial arts. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you're taken out of it because you're like, oh, that's not how it works.
Because to me,
that's understandable. But yeah,
well, that's very understandable. That's fair and understandable.
Because it's a thing with the character. So if the character just gives up, okay, I could see that. And then maybe could have said, maybe the daughter could have said, hey man, you had that armbar cinched. That would have been cool, right? That would have been cool. But instead, she's like, you do your uppercut, and just kind of like it paused the inevitable. But when you have a deep position like that, it's like, so it takes me out. and some of the I thought some of the Kung Lee and his cousin stuff was pretty decent, but his martial arts, that guy, it was just whacked, especially when it was all the ground stuff. I'm sorry, I'm done.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say,
No,
I agree with you guys that the weakest part of this movie is the film's lead, unfortunately.
He's so bad, honestly. Like, God, so bad. He's terrible, but
it's fun, right? It's it doesn't rely on him. It becomes an ensemble piece.
Well, I'll tell you what it is as well, is that they obviously know that he's garbage, because I bet you anything, if you went back and watched it and took a look at actually how many lines of dialogue he gets, he doesn't get that much.
Not a lot.
Like, he really doesn't.
I bet you also they filmed that scene like when they maybe first started filming, because he actually got a little better, you know, because he only had one line here or there, but that one dramatic scene with the wife was
the delivery of the dialogue is so bad. We're like, it's just,
you're telling me he wanted to be Shang-Chi?
Yeah, Shang-Chi he wanted to be.
Wow.
No, he's competing with Bridget Wilson for the worst line deliveries as far as like Mortal Kombat movies go.
Bridget was hot, man.
Yeah, she was hot, but that is like hands down like one of her worst acting roles ever. Like every line of dialogue that she delivers in that movie is horrid.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to Haruki, am I saying his first name right? The Japanese actor?
Good enough.
Yeah, right. That was
great.
I wanted more.
Why did they release that 7 minutes? Why?
Oh, I know why.
Well, no, but to me, right? So in my review, I said that that was one of the best bits of the film, right? And them releasing that is real bad as a marketing move, but also really good as a marketing move, because people will watch that on YouTube and go, "Oh, awesome! The entire film's like this," and then they watch the film and go, "Huh, all right then." But then also, because the best part of the film, like, don't reveal all of that. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And the set pieces, the props that they used, brilliant. Really, really good.
I mean,
good.
You almost wish they would have just stayed there in the past.
Yes.
Well,
there's
no movie there in and of itself, but
that was a movie right there. It's like, just stay with that.
You know what? Remember what I said earlier about Street Fighter Assassin's Fist, right? That you said that they should have stayed there in the past, right? Street Fighter's Assassin's Fist has a very similar build-up and stuff like that, and there they stay right there.
Yeah,
that's the equivalent. That's the whole movie. That's the training of Ken and Ryu in nature, kind of like that. So yeah, that's what they did there, and I agree completely. There was a movie. That whole thing,
the war
like
in clans.
like the war between the Lin Kuei and the whatever Scorpions clan was called. Exactly. The Shiri Yai, whatever.
The Ryu, or whatever, yeah.
That thing right there. That's a movie. That's a prequel that I would have watched the hell out of.
Well, let's get your initial reactions, Andre. You're the only one who really hasn't given any.
I thought it was pretty awesome. Like, I was blown away at the beginning. I thought it was fantastic in every single way. And then as time went on, then I saw more of like what Script Doctor had been talking about, with like the little cracks that were there. You saw like the weaknesses in the story, but even the weaknesses in the story, I think that they were able to do pretty good with, all in all, in the execution, because it was just a really fun and a good time overall. And I was generally impressed with how they were able to do a pretty decent spin on a story that had been told before in the 1995 movie. I think it was 95. Yeah. So you're basically retelling that story, and they found a very compelling way of doing it while keeping it fresh. So I think they did.
I was going to say, I mean, actually, the story for this is a lot tighter than the original films.
Yeah, kind of. In many ways, it is. And I also didn't find myself missing Johnny Cage that much, because you had like many people being upset that he was excluded from this movie, and the statement that was made could be interpreted as they left him out because he was white, and it would be weird to have a white lead character. And there may be something to that really was the reason, but still, ignore the talent of the actor. Just look at the character himself.
Yeah, I understand why they didn't put Johnny Cage in this.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I think it made perfect sense from a story point of view. When you see like that lead up, and then we're not going to get into it before we get into the spoiler section, but then we kind of see, okay, so that is why this new character is here. The moment that I realized, oh shit, that's who he is, then I was like, okay, I'm good now. This is okay. Fine, the actor sucks, but the character makes complete sense.
Yeah, without getting into spoilers, I think it needs to be said, this movie sets up a lot of stuff for future films, but it also does a really decent job of being pretty self-contained at the same time. Like if they don't do another sequel, you'll be fine with it. But it does do a lot better job without being as blatant and in your face as the 95 movie does with setting up what could be to come. I will say that without getting into spoilers up front. I mean, it seems like to me, I mean, there's a little bit varied on both ends of the spectrum as far as how people felt about it. But I feel like I can't stress enough that all the little negative things that we're nitpicking on, this movie is really not that bad. Like it really, even it had less probably story issues than Kong versus Godzilla, if you want to be real about it. Because the story is pretty fucking straightforward. It's all pretty well handled. Structural wise, I'm trying to think of any major huge plot holes, and I can't really, none that really point out. Like I know Mr. H, I know some of the issues you're going to have are probably going to be more technical wise when we get to them, because I kind of know where you're probably coming from there, because I had some similar issues. But overall, the story part of it, I don't think I can really say they did anything real horrible here. Like I get it. It makes sense. It's coherent. It fills out the 2 hours pretty nicely. It clipped along pretty well. There's some slow bits here and there that sure could have been trimmed down a little bit, but I thought overall it was like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. I mean, I don't think
a reasonable pace, didn't it?
Yeah,
it chugged along quite nicely.
Yeah, and I was very happy with the with the running time. It had like a decent running time as well, because I was like worried, this is something they're going to force into a 90-minute running time, but it was like an hour 45 minutes almost in like actual running time. So it had like those extra 10 minutes that really did a lot. Pacing wise, I had no issues with it. Like some minor story issues, but no pacing issues.
Yeah,
and everything, looked good. The Sub-Zero was awesome.
The CGI for the most part was pretty good, I thought, and I'm not generally a fan of it.
Not terrible. I think there was. I'm trying to think. One of the key letdowns on the CGI front, because they you just can't do it that well. It's difficult to do properly on a low budget, which this film has a low budget, was the CGI blood, which there is some, for sure. That was the major letdown. I didn't like Raiden's eyes. I didn't like Raiden. I didn't like the actor who did Raiden.
Tom, you had a suggestion for who it should have been.
Well, and the reason I brought this up is because the reason Raiden sticks out in the original film is because he's played by Christopher Lambert, right? Let's be real here. You needed somebody like that here. The guy they got playing him, he just doesn't stand out at all. He doesn't feel important. He doesn't feel like we should give a shit when he's there. Every time Christopher Lambert showed up in the original film, you felt his presence. You needed somebody like Jackie Chan to come in and play that role. Somebody who, when you see him, it's like you feel like a presence on screen.
But they do sort of cover that in the film itself by saying he can't get involved. Like I know what you mean. I just didn't like the actor. I just thought
that's what I'm saying. You needed somebody with more gravitas there. I don't get.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, get Nicolas Cage.
No.
Yeah.
Well, my whole point was there was no way they were going to cast anything but an Asian actor for this. So what the fuck are you? It makes complete sense to get Jackie Chan in there because there's somebody like that level, to where you're like, when you see him, it makes you feel like, oh, this character is important. Because I didn't get that out of this Raiden. I
would go for Donnie Yen if that's the case.
Because even Lambert's version, Mr. H says he cannot interfere.
Yeah,
Donnie Yen's got great presence.
Actually, this Raiden fights more than Lambert's did.
Yeah, no, I agree with Donnie Yen. He also would have been very good for
exactly. Somebody who
there are many that they could have gotten that would have been better in this. And you know what I think is disappointing? It wasn't just him. I also think that the actor who did Shang Tsung also really wasn't like that.
Not the proper casting.
Yeah, no. So the two of them, and that's actually a big shame because the two of them, Shang Tsung and Raiden, they needed to have. I think would have helped the movie if they had like a kind of like Magneto and Mr. X kind of chemistry between them. You needed to have like two proper actors to really
Ken Watanabe would have
it.
been the perfect Shang Tsung, probably.
Yeah, he would have been great, or even better yet, you could have gotten back. I would not have minded if they had brought back Kari Hiryuka Tagawa.
You're not wrong there, yeah.
That's that actor.
How fantastic would he not have been in that?
Right. What was he not available?
If I had been the casting director, I would have been like, okay, you know what? They brought back Judi Dench for M in a completely separate thing. Kari Hiryuka Tagawa, he was so perfect. He was just bring him back again, because that was a thing that the casting in the *95 movie was so spot on. Some of those roles, like Liu Kang and Shang Tsung in particular, for those two, that's, to me at least, of course opinions may vary, but to me, the new guys, as good as they were, they just didn't measure up.
I did like the new Liu Kang. I did like the new Kano. I mean, to me, I thought they were just as good as the original.
Kano was amazing.
Kano steals the fucking show.
Good.
Yeah, he was.
There was a point where it was almost, without getting too deep into spoilers, like when we talk, there's something I want to say about that character when we get to spoilers. So I'll wait.
Yeah. Did you like the casting of like the heroes most?
I actually really liked Sonya Blade's casting.
Yeah, she was great.
Right?
No,
she was different.
Pretty damn good, to be fair.
At first, it kind of was abrasive, but... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Andre. What?
No, I was just going to say, in my book, best Sonya Blade on screen to date.
Yeah, at first she was a little abrasive. I felt like they could give her a little bit more levity to her character, but other than that, she grew on me throughout the film,
Yeah. How about...
I really like, not to get into spoilers, but one fight, did anybody else get Kill Bill Volume 2 vibes out of that fight, or was it just me?
Which one?
The one of her fights in the movie. I'm not going to get too specific, but we'll wait, yeah.
What's the African-American guy's character?
Jax. I know the character. I don't know the actor, but no, not Jackson, just Jax. Jax Briggs.
Jax.
He had a funny line. He had a couple funny moments, but towards the end,
there's some good lines in the movie.
Yeah, but the dialogue is what lets this film down massively, and the trailer does a very good job of editing around that to make it appear more comical and out of order. Whereas actually in the film, no, some of the dialogue that was re-edited for the trailer was actually just cringe as fuck, to be honest.
Well, let's be real here. You don't see this movie for the dialogue.
No, but
the dialogue is basically exposition, and that's it.
Yeah, but it helps. But it helps if it's good, though.
Oh yeah, this would have been a 10 out of 10.
Better job of editing than the actual editors. And this isn't a spoiler. This just goes to show a little bit of dialogue. Case in point, the whole, it's a birthmark. What do you mean? He was born with it. That is edited in the trailer for a joke. That's not the order that it's done in the film. That's not the order that's in the film.
Right.
It is literally cringe in the film. It's, oh yeah, he was born with this birthmark. Like, yeah, we get it. Like, we know what that is. Like, oh my god damn, like seriously. Whereas in the trailer,
name birthmark.
they edited it as for a joke to be like, oh, this is really crap dialogue. Let's make a joke.
I guess
out
I'd
of
have
it.
to watch it back to back in the scene because I don't remember that part. But I know what you're talking about because I've seen it done in other movies where like either the trailer will either do the timing or they'll mess it up one way or the other. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but I actually liked and didn't hate it at all. But I actually quite liked how they put the dialogue in for the fatalities, you know, like flawless victory and things. I just found that funny. Like, I think it worked, absolutely worked. And one of the massive things that I think people really hated from the trailer was Hiroyuki Sanada dropping in and going, "Get over here," which, because of how the film's structured, when that part gets and actually happens, it's actually a fist in the air. Yes, go and do it. To me, it was anyway. I was like, yes, absolutely. Yeah, fuck him up.
Well, it's leading up to the climax. Yeah.
I was trying not to give any spoilers, Tom.
No, but I mean, well, yeah.
I'm here being ultra cautious, Tom.
True. I just fucked that up. But you know what? We've been here for an hour, and there's people who already been giving away spoilers in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, okay, let's get into spoil. But before that, I want to catch up on some super chats. I'm going to update the thumbnail for the title of the video.
There may even be a super chat to spoil the thing or two.
Into spoilers. So that's the plan right now. We're going to go through the classic super chats that we can't bring up on screen. Things will be different here. HyperGyver2 says Frosty. And Oliver Klosov, he sent us unicorn super sticker, so thanks for that. Chas Farno says Willy's Wonderland was pretty entertaining. Nick Cage.
That's a great film.
Christian Cora. Oh yeah, sorry, what was that, Mr. H?
That's a great. Willy's Wonderland's a great film. I reviewed that on my channel. It's fantastic. Massively recommend. So good.
Can I interrupt for 2 seconds? Because I know you'll find this interesting, Andre. We already have some ratings by demographic for Mortal Kombat. It's actually rating very, very well among the audience. 32% of the audience, is the biggest chunk, is already given it 10 out of 10 on IMDb.
Wow.
It's actually tracking better with females than males by over 2 or 3%.
What?
Yep.
That's interesting.
How the hell did that happen?
I don't know.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just like surprised.
Well, the lead is a good-looking guy.
There's that, and it does have a strong female lead as well.
He's beefcakey, you know.
Well, not just that, but Sonya Blade is a well-known character.
Chicks don't care about that.
They do too, more than you'd think, actually.
All right, I'm just saying, like, you tell me those numbers, I'm thinking it's because of the dudes with their shirts.
Not only that, guess what? This movie has some fifis in it.
My God! All right, you're right, Tom.
Yeah, it does.
Women
it has something for everyone.
It does, very much so. Even little kids, who shouldn't be watching it. If I'd have saw this when I was 12 with this game, oh man, this would have been like fucking candy for me, man. Holy shit! I wish I had this movie when I was 12.
Yeah, my God, me too. Like this is. I will say that I was very when I saw the original Mortal Kombat movie, I was very happy with how Scorpion and Sub-Zero looked, and same with Reptile, because I really find like the simplicity of their colored ninja outfits appealing. So I would have thought that their modern day makeover of their costumes was too much. But beyond that, this is the Mortal Kombat movie that I wanted the whole time.
I have a feeling this is going to be another movie. We're going to see a big separation on audience and critics, because the critics are giving it it's rating at a 53% right now on the tomato.
Oh, I can't have anything good.
Well,
of course.
there is that Deadline review up or something like that saying it's nostalgic for, even though it's bloody and gory. It's not. Let me find it. I'll get it to you.
Yeah, but anyway, while you're looking for that, continue on with the super chats.
Yes, the super chats we have, because I just updated the thumbnail and the description in the meantime here. So I'm just going to get back to the super chats. It's not going to take long, I promise. Then we have Cristian Coralejo, who said for $5. Instead of Alien or Predator, Disney should make movies based on their old extraterrestrial ride if they want to do edgy sci-fi. No franchises ruined. Indeed. They could also consider remaking The Black Hole. If there ever was a movie that screamed for a remake, it was that one. Imagine having there's so many directors that could do that one, but basically that basic story, those robots, but do it freaking today with modern technology and with a suitable director for it. Like the guy who did Tron Legacy, have him do a remake of the Black Hole. That would be freaking fantastic. And Hypergiver 2 says, I had the Mega Drive, but to play Valis 3 and 4. Yeah, I'm not familiar with those myself, but I hope you enjoyed them. I trust that you did. Ordsport is in the chat and says, kind of can't wait to see this movie. Hail all. And John Apocalypse says, Godzilla vs. Kong, Nobody, and now Mortal Kombat. 3 films to see in May. And the DCV Titan, he has a quote here. Liu Kang says, if you're the Asian god of thunder, how come you're white? Monk. Liu, you can't just ask gods why they're white. I have no idea where that quote is from, but I always thought that was very weird with the casting of Christophe Lambert myself. I will admit.
Well, it was almost weirder than that, Andre, because I'm sure you know who they originally wanted.
Actually, no, I don't. Yeah, Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yes.
Oh my God.
They wanted Sean Connery originally.
I mean, he was big still then. Yeah.
He's like, I'd rather play golf.
Yeah.
That was his answer.
Terrible.
So then they went to Christopher Lambert.
And my favorite story there is actually not favorite, but like frustrating one is the casting of Sonya Blade. Tom, you already know this, but anyone else here who knows who was the original cast choice for Sonya Blade, who even was cast early on and went through 2 months of training and then broke her wrist just as filming was about to begin and had to be recast in the last possible moment with someone who happened to be free and could jump on at 48 hours notice. Who was the original choice?
For this one or in the 90s?
No, for the
95.
original, for the 95 one.
Winona Ryder.
No.
Mr. H, any guesses?
I got no idea, mate. None.
Tom, you have the answer.
One Cameron Diaz, fresh off the mask.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, because this was a New Line Cinema
Did not know
movie.
that.
And she had just done Mask for New Line Cinema, and she had floored everyone there. So when they came to looking for casting, everyone was in agreement, from the director to the producer to the New Line board and everything. This was one of the few things that they were all universally agreed on. They had fights over every other role. You know, like this massive thing. Like the guy who played Liu Kang, he had to go through, I don't know, like 15 or something.
Well, originally New Line wanted Ernie Reyes Jr., who played Kino in Ninja Turtles 2, who also had a history because he was also in Red Sonja and Enter the Dragon or something like that, or Return of the Dragon, I mean.
Really something like that.
Really
Again,
there
were multiple people, and so that they were looking at for every single role. And the only point I'm making is that there was one exception. There was one person that they all wanted from the get-go, and that was Cameron Diaz for Sonya Blade. This was like, no argues there. We get her, and they got her. They trained her for 2 months. She had martial arts training, and then she broke her wrist, and this was like days before filming was about to begin. And then I think it was like Happy Madison or Happy Gilmore or something like that had just finished filming.
It was Billy Madison, yeah.
Billy Madison, yeah, that was the title of it. And then she was able to step in on short notice. And then they tried to do some marketing bullshit about, she was the one that we wanted the whole time, but then Billy Madison got in the way. And then we went back to her. Well, of course, that was complete bullshit. She was she was available and she was sufficiently hot, and that's why she got cast.
The only reason I kind of half-ass believe that story, and I don't believe it totally, is because they were trying to make Bridget Wilson like the it girl at that time, and then Cameron Diaz just became the it girl. Does that make sense? And I bet you $5 if Cameron Diaz would have been in Mortal Kombat, her career would have been where Bridget Wilson is right now. Because if you think about it, The Mask and Billy Madison were probably equally as, successful. And then they both went on to two totally different kind of careers after that. And I think that, even though Mortal Kombat was a big success, Cameron Diaz got lucky in this, I think. I really do. Because I think otherwise her career just went away.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that's I think that Cameron Diaz is more of a natural it girl. She has that that's something
that's
special.
What I'm saying. Yeah, like the moment she comes on screen in The Mask, you can just tell this woman's going to be a star.
Yeah, and Bridget Wilson doesn't have that, and she never did. She is someone that they tried to make her an it girl, and it didn't work, and it had nothing to do with the Mortal Kombat movie. I don't think that
maybe I just think her career would have went a different line.
Would have changed anything for her career other than that would have been on it. It's simply a matter of that. Bridget Wilson, they could have tried and it would have gone just as good as what's-his-face from John Carter.
Well, my argument is kind of based in, because off of The Mask, Cameron went on this trajectory of like comedy romance films. I feel like if she would have ended up being in Mortal Kombat, she would have been like, when they try to make like this action star out of a woman and it doesn't always work. I think that's probably what would have happened to her. Maybe. I could be wrong, of course. I can't say for sure, but that's my kind of basis for that.
Yeah. But anyway, that's just like a fun little side quest then. So Cameron Diaz, she was the original choice for that particular role.
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be R-rated too, and New Line was all on board with that until the producer said, nope, it's got to be PG-13 or kids can't see it.
Yeah. But anyway, this was all just one massive tangent from a super chat. So let's get back to the super chats and get back to Mortal Kombat.
It was still related to Mortal Kombat.
It was. And Jack Hudson says for $5, in my opinion, this movie didn't need to be made. All you have to do is play or watch the story mode of MK11, and that was basically a movie already. Yeah, maybe, but here's like the thing. No movies need to be made at all.
Right.
And there's a ton of people out there that are very open to seeing a Mortal Kombat that have no inclination to get a console and get MK11 and watch it on story mode just to get the Mortal Kombat movie. So in that sense, it's a financial investment. That's really best incentive there is, whether it needs to be made or not.
Well, my biggest pet peeve with video game movies or movies that seem like video games is when I'm sitting there going, I'd rather just pick up the controller. As long as the movie doesn't make me feel like that, then it's done its job. This movie succeeded. Did I need a Mortal Kombat movie? No. Did I necessarily want one? No. I was fine with the 95 one. But after seeing this, I'm glad I have it.
Yeah, me too.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. And another thing I noticed, not to go too far off topic, but people brought up Nobody, Godzilla vs. Kong in this film being good. And I'll also throw in a few other films that kind of were coming out that we were enjoying more. Were like Bad Boys 3 and a few other ones like that. I do feel like Hollywood was on that upswing until all this shit happened. And then now we're going to start seeing a downtick in the quality again here pretty soon. I have this bad gut feeling because it's like we've gotten lucky with a few films here in recent years, even Bill and Ted 3 and a few others. And you brought up Wally's Wonderland. Is that what's called? Willy's Wonderland? And a few other movies. They've just been fun. They weren't about agendas. They weren't about, super whamming leads or anything like that. They were just fun films. And I have a feeling that's going to go out the window real soon.
I hope not. That would be a shame. But,
no, we know this is going to happen, Andre, because you and I brought it up several times over. They were kind of...
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we want to see it happen, but yeah, it's going to happen.
Well, it was a bit of an upswing, Paul, but formerly Paul, I should say. But after the lockdowns and everything else that happened politically, yeah. See, that's the thing, is it takes 2-3 years for a movie to get made. You know what I mean? Like, so we're not going to see a change here for a little bit. But like, to me, this feels like the shift we were hoping for a while back, anyway. But I think it got derailed.
But anyway, moving on, we have a couple of more super chats here. Next one is from Valiant Renegade, who says for $20. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And he says, Mr. H took the words out of my mouth, agreed on all points. There was some definite clunkiness with the story and the lead actor, but there was so much else that was spectacular it made up for it. 7 out of 10. By the way, love car nonsense.
Way. Cool dude.
There you go.
And Michael Millard wonders, so we're talking about Picard out of money. We are eventually, but not here and now. And I don't know how out of money they are, so I have to do some research into that. And then the DCV Titan says for $5 Canadian, the quote is paraphrased from Clueless and them meeting a character from Africa. Oh, okay.
Yes.
This would be the quote before. I've never seen Clueless.
I have, but it's been years.
I saw the trailer in when it was new. And it was very, very clear to me at the time that the movie was not made for me. I was not its target audience. So I took the hint and I never saw it.
You know, I went to see that movie as a joke and ended up liking it.
Yeah, well, cool.
So you'd be surprised. It might actually be something. I mean, it's not what you'd think from the trailers, but it is kind of what that movie is. But I mean, it has more to it than the surface level kind of. It's not a Dumb and Dumber for chicks. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, cool. Cool. And
I wouldn't put it that high on the list of movies you got to see, though.
Yeah, no, it's way down there on
no.
the list. Like so far down, it's never going to happen.
But I bet you'd enjoy it more than you'd think. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, that could very well be, but I'm never going to find out. And Spider Unlimited says for $24.99. Wow, thank you so much. Gentlemen, I have to run. My best friend's wedding. Oh, cool. Well, you are excused.
I hope it's an actual wedding and you're not just running to watch the movie, because that would be pathetic.
Well, whatever floats your boat. But I wish you and your friend and the betrothed a great day. And he continues, I thank you all for starting off on this festive day. We'll have a drink for each and every one of you. I'll be dancing in white squares thanks to Emperor Cuomo and the PC police. Probably not the most ideal time to do anything festive like that, like between now and the next 10 years. But yeah, well, I hope it's going to be a great occasion for all involved. And thank you for the drinks that you are about to consume on our behalf.
Well, before we move on with Super Chats, we're going to lose Mr. H here soon. So let's get into some spoiler territory real quick.
Yes, okay, let's do that then. And we'll continue with the Super Chats. And Mr. H, real quick, getting into spoilers, what were your favorite and least favorite parts of the movie?
Cole Young's armor sucks. Massive donkey balls. Awful. Absolutely awful. Horrendous, and goes hand in hand with his very bland, lame ass character that he is. But one of the like I said, the whole build up to Scorpion appearing, and then for me saying that line, it landed like in the movie in the context, because we build up to obviously him appearing, escaping from hell, being released, and just him go, get over here. Like, yes, do it. Super cool. I really enjoyed the Kung Lao fatality with the hat in the sand. Can't remember.
That one's pretty badass.
Yeah. Chopping her completely in half was just unreal. Super, super cool. And then Jax just completely obliterating it was Reiko, wasn't it? Reiko's head just splat.
Popped it
gone.
like a zit.
Bye-bye. I liked so much. Goro was Goro. I think they nerfed him a little bit too much for my liking. That I didn't like. That's a spoiler. He gets killed. I think he gets killed pretty easily. I think.
I don't think he's dead, but yeah, I was kind of disappointed.
No, I don't think any of them are dead because there's that final line from Shang Tsung where he says, death is just another portal. Like I get all of that, but still, if you're going to have these people here, and they're just going to keep coming back. Well, there's no point if he dies so easily in the first place anyway. You're just like, okay, well, he's just dead. Like, who cares? So I thought that was a shame, to be fair. Like I said, I get it, that he will come back, but well, who cares at this point? Because he got nerfed. So that was a bit of a shame. Kano was just a standout. Kano being, mercenary that does turn on everyone as well. Great. Awesome. Like that's what you want. That is what you want from him. I thought it was fantastic. And they really embraced the Aussiness, which was good.
See, I was one of those where I'm like, okay, are they going to really pull a twist on us and make him have like a kind of a struggle of conscience? And I thought maybe they'd have him be kind of like that anti-hero and kind of like, I don't like any of you fuckers, but I don't think the earth should be just ruled by these guys either. But no, like, yeah, I mean, when you kind of see the turn coming, yeah. So that was the only time I'm like, I wish they kind of would have fudged that just a little bit because he's such a fun character, and especially the camaraderie he has with the rest.
Yeah, I didn't like. I really didn't like how they all had their powers. That I thought was dumb. No cybernetic eye. He literally just gains a superpower. But like I get it. They have to do something to get everyone having things. But I don't know. I didn't particularly enjoy that part. I don't know. I thought that was a bit lame, but never mind. But yeah, that's me done. I'm afraid I do have to dash, ladies and gents.
Well, thanks for being here, Mr. H. We appreciate it. And do check out Mr. H's channel, Mr. H Reviews, and his car network as well, if you're into cars. There you go.
Yes.
Boom.
Yeah, I've got a little car channel. It's linked in the description box. The guys at Midnight Stage were very kind enough to link that there. Please do go and check it out. In fact, there's a video of an R32 Skyline GTR at the moment. That's just been released, spitting huge flames out of a titanium Tomei exhaust. That if you like cars, you will drool over that. But anyway, thank you so much for letting me drop in. Always a pleasure. Take care, guys.
Mr. H, be well, bro.
Peace out. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
So yeah, Paulie.
Yeah.
Now that we're in spoiler territory, or should we get back to super chats real quick?
Yeah, no, actually, let's continue the super chats a little bit afterwards. Now we started talking. So, Paulie, spoilers. What stood out to you for a better and for a worse? Now that when we can't talk spoilers, like powers and everything, what was great and what wasn't?
I like the special effects. I like the way the lead's powers came through his chest and then was kind of taken over, and he finally got his armor. I thought that was kind of cool. And every time he would get the guy with the four arms, what's his name?
Goro.
That battle. I mean, the battle was okay, but it was like when he was beating him down, and you could see his like kind of like his red, like the red effect. What do you call that? Was he getting angry, or was he like kind of like getting his powers? I thought that was pretty awesome.
Well, you mean just when he was getting them, or?
Well, so Goro was beating on him, and that's the first time he saw his red armor appear or something. So I didn't know.
Yeah, when he suddenly got like the yellow armor, like yellow golden scorpion colored-ish armor.
Right. So there's that, and then I don't know if it was like every time he was charging up to protect himself, he would turn red, or if he was absorbing.
Yeah, I think it was
pain.
absorbing the punches or whatever with the armor.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. Like I said earlier, Outland was really impressed, and of course the first 7 minutes. I love Scorpion's return. And obviously the spoiler at the end with the I'm going to Hollywood, and then you see the poster in the gym, the MMA gym that had frozen somehow was back to normal. How that gym not get thrashed?
That's movie magic for you.
Movie magic, yeah. Yeah, and obviously with you guys, the Kano was, that actor is just so good, so charismatic. Which as far as charisma and being a really good actor, kind of like really showed you how bad the lead was. The two cousins were really good. Maybe we should have showed more of them.
Yeah, Kung Lao and
Liu Kang.
Liu Kang, yes.
Liu Kang and Kung Lao. I mean, Kung Lao was. I've seen that actor around before. He's got a great presence.
He was great. He really was. The only thing that I thought was like weird with that was that both of them, to me, Tom, you have to correct me here, but both of them to me kind of like in a way came off like, were they imposters to the real thing in a way? Because just look at what Kung Lao said. That, I'm not the real Kung Lao. I'm like the real life descendant of Kung Lao, and this guy's cousin, although not really his cousin, because he's just like some bum in the street, referring to Liu Kang. And Liu Kang, he basically said that, I was taken in by this guy, and he told me about this great warrior, and then I took his name and I took his dragon. To me, maybe I was unclear, but to me that came across a little bit like Liu Kang saying that I actually took the name and this dragon from the real Liu Kang. I wasn't born as Liu Kang, and I wasn't born with this dragon.
No, he was talking about the guy. You mean the part where he talked about the guy he got the as to why he's got the birthmark now?
Yeah.
No, he killed another warrior. That's what he was talking about. And he said he did bad things to children and all that kind of stuff. So you can tell it was probably somebody who was like, an abuser and all that kind of stuff. Like that was the whole thing. Like I'm sure there's a little bit of story there. I think Liu Kang is who he says he is, but I think you might be onto something about his. Well, you call him his cousin, but they keep calling each other brothers because they set up the same kind of storyline they set up in the original film. With the brother getting killed, by Shang Tsung, and then. But I think we may see, another Kung Lao maybe, but I think that's Liu Kang. We may see like a more spiritual version of, because you're right about that. Cause he says something like he's the embodiment of, but I don't remember Liu Kang saying anything like that part. Cause he's just talking about how, he was just, on the streets and he just happened to get the birthmark cause he killed a very bad man who was one of the warriors. Kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe that's what he said. I thought that basically that was something.
No, he's like, he was a very bad man and he hurt children or something like that. He said, and something else he said about him, and then he's like,
I would not have.
I took it from him or something like that. Yeah,
I would not have minded some level of further clarification on that.
We'll watch the scene again. The way he explained it, that's the way I understood it. But yeah, I think you're right. Maybe they could have like another more like godlike version of Kung Lao down the road, but I think that's our Liu Kang for sure, which I'm fine with. I think the actor did great. He was one of the standouts to me as well. So, like my few gripes with the film were kind of a lot of what Mr. H said as far as like the costumes. Like the lead guy's costume looked like shit. That thing was bad.
The yellow armor.
Yeah, you could see the fucking seam in the back.
I didn't think it was horrible.
Well, and I thought what they were going to do was I thought he was just going to take on the mantle of Scorpion, which to me would have made a little bit more sense of why you're introducing a new character. Instead, he's like the bloodline of. So it's like, okay, so what's this mean? So you created some new character for this?
I'm actually really happy with that, with the bloodline thing.
Kind of, but like, I mean,
yeah,
I
like
want
that
more
bloodline.
Scorpion though. I don't want Scorpion for 5 seconds.
Correct.
No, I agree, and I hope we get much. But actually, there's hope for the future, because that's since we are in full spoiler territory now. Basically, like Scorpion is in the very beginning and the very end, but then he's freed. Then he roams the world. He doesn't go back. He roams the world now.
Yeah, Scorpion's back. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, with that actor at his age, I mean, you should just give him his own movie before he gets a little too old.
Yeah, because I was like thinking, that was like one of the things that I was thinking about. Like, well, this guy, he's great, but he's too old to do this for a very long time. But of course, if they hurry, they can.
Well, that's kind of where I thought the new guy was going to just kind of take on the mantle of Scorpion, like it was just, it was his family.
Yeah.
If he had done that, I would have preferred that for Sub-Zero, because there it's already established that that what mutation or whatever is, that's something that happens for like once every few generations and stuff. And I think it's a canon, like in Mortal Kombat 3, the game, when you have like Scorpion with the mask and without. That the guy without is not the same Scorpion as the one with, but his brother. I think it's something like that, or it was retconned that way. So
yeah, I don't know. I didn't play past the third game, so I have no idea. I have Mortal Kombat 9, but I didn't play the story.
So, yeah, and I guess like someone was saying in the chat as far as him absorbing his punches like a punching bag. That's his shtick. I mean, you wouldn't know that in the film. I mean,
yeah, they do a very bad job, and that's where I thought they were going to switch him into like Scorpion, because they don't really explain his powers at all. He just like
I thought that his powers were weird. So like, what you have like so the power is that he has a suit that is half Iron Man and half Baraka. Is that his power?
Half Black Panther suit that absorbs the punches and shit too. Yeah.
Because I was like thinking,
how was that connected to his soul or to his family? That was pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, I think that maybe it must be like something. Okay, we're gonna give you something that you need right now. You saw like it even worse with Jax, like his inner power. That was the ability to magically make his shitty prosthesis into proper or really working badass prosthesis. That was some inert magic power. I was actually like disappointed with that. I was like thinking that if they go through all the realms, maybe they could find like some limb replacements that work as needed, rather than that having to be the innate special power. Like, to me, that's like the shitty writing.
Well, that's where I said it would have made more sense if he just took on the mantle.
Well,
yeah, because like, go ahead, Paul.
No, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, because that would have tied things up a little bit better. It brings a new Scorpion into the story. Like I said, it explains why you have this new character, but like you have no Scorpion throughout the film, and I wouldn't have seen that twist coming right away. I knew he was the descendant, but I'm like, okay, so how are they going to bring Scorpion back into this? And that would have been a way to do it. But like, yeah, because as is now, that's why I don't like the character, because he's kind of just generic and they don't really explain his powers. And he just has these things that grow out of his arms. And
yeah. And
why didn't Goro just punch him in the face?
Yeah. And especially when he was getting the beat down book from Goro.
Yeah.
Goro. Sorry.
Goro.
Goro.
Yeah.
And then Goro went after
his family
wife and the daughter in the truck.
Yeah, and that's when like I really liked that. That's actually one of the things about the movie that appealed to me the most, which is ironic, because I know that like when I was a kid, that's what would have appealed to me the least. But now, being matured a little bit, and like advanced a little bit more in life and stuff like that, then that's kind of like what appealed to me the most. That the suffering that Scorpion went through there with what happened to him in the intro sequence, and how history was about to repeat itself, and that desperation is what brought out the power of like Scorpion's descendant. I don't even remember the character's name, because to me it's just Scorpion's descendant.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is that.
And also towards the very end, I have to say this: when that was like Scorpion's parting words, and I have no reason at all to think that the descendant would understand a single one of them. Where basically he says, "You take care of my lineage,"
right?
But I was like wondering, like, did he understand that Japanese at all? Because there's no reason to think that he would.
Well, also, in that moment where he's seeing, the truck getting the beat down and almost the, family's going to get crushed. All he can come up with is, now that I'm seeing it, is that, that Nehru yellow suit. You would have thought like something cooler, like, would come out, like, maybe like the Scorpion thing, where he just, I don't know. It was a moment wasted where you just get you get that armor. Or show a little bit of power from the daughter. That would have been really dope.
That would have been great too. Honestly, that wouldn't have been woke in the slightest.
No,
within the context of the story, it even would have made perfect sense.
It's a twist.
Scorpions. It's not only is it a twist. It's a twist that you could justify from the story, because Scorpion's surviving descendant was his daughter. It would only have made sense for it to manifestate in his daughter's son's daughter, which is this. It would have made perfect sense in the story.
Yeah. Listen, Rick in the chat, I'm not talking about a Rey moment where she saves the day and she's the bestest ever. I'm talking about where the descendant, which in this case is a female, like Andre says, something awakens in her to save. She's being crushed along with her mom.
Yeah, but does she have the birthmarks? They don't even establish that.
Well, we don't establish, but in just that moment. But then not it be about her. It's still about homeboy, the dad.
But her being the link between Scorpion and him, and then like the lineage is coming together, because that was the whole talk. Lineage. And as far as we know, the lineage is those three.
Right. The only issue you have with that, though, and again, I have no problems with that part of the story if you were to add that in there, because it kind of adds like
what's a twist?
Is a twist for the future as well. But isn't the tournament like every so many generations anyway? Like, it's not every generation. That's the thing.
Yeah, but that was like also one twist right here. That screw the tournament. They broke the rules anyway.
I know, and we'll get that was one of the things I did like about it too. Yeah, go ahead.
People in the chat, let me tell you something. That little girl, she had more charisma than not only than the lead, but then Daisy Ridley as Rey.
Yes,
she was. I wanted more of her in that world. It wasn't a woke world, so it's not a woke movie.
Yeah. It's exactly the same thing with the Godzilla versus Kong. I mean, I was terrified that the girl was going to be like the worst part, but she was like one of the best actors in the whole movie project.
Wait a minute. Which girl are you talking about?
The one that was
not Millie Bobby Brown, the deaf girl.
Okay, I'm like,
no, not Millie Bobby Brown, of course not, but the one that's connecting with with Kong, like
the mute.
Yes.
No, what makes it even worse for me now is like I know that she's actually deaf in real life, so now I really give a shit about that little girl even more. So it's like,
oh, she's great.
Yeah, I know. It's like
she's got a lot of heart. I mean, in both cases, those actors. And what was, they took very little and made it a lot because they had that it factor more than Billy Brown, whatever the hell her name is, and more than this lead. I mean, he might be nice to look at for the girls, for the ladies, but guy could, every time he talked, you were like, ooh.
No, well, and that would have been a benefit of just turning him into, the next Scorpion, because then you didn't have to bring him back for the fucking sequel. You can just cast a stuntman then, or a better actor. because that's the weakest point of this film is the main star, and that's a problem. That's probably the biggest problem.
I will say he's not the main star so much as he's the point of view character.
Yeah, well, he is technically the lead. Let's be real.
Yeah,
He's got all the main portions. He's the first 10, 15 minutes of the film outside of the opening 7, which is still tangentially connected to him.
Well, it's a good character.
It is a good character, but it's just a poorly casted. Yeah. And they could have come up with something better for his powers, or just turned him into Scorpion at the end, and it would have made sense.
Especially when you're, with the performance of the Scorpion. Forgive me for not knowing the gentleman's, the Japanese actor's name. He's just so incredible. I've seen him in a couple films. He's just always underused, like they had said in the chat. He was wonderful in The Last Samurai as Cruz's adversary for a minute. But he was like in a minute going up against Hawkeye first, back into the Avengers, Infinity War. That same actor. Help me out here, guys.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Yeah, you lost me. So
the actor that plays Scorpion.
Okay, let me see if I can find who that is.
And someone knows his name in the chat, but that same actor has been in Last Samurai. He had a pretty big role, and then he was in it for a minute against Jeremy Renner, where Jeremy takes out the. This is Endgame. Yeah, he's in it for a minute. He have like a quick sword
I don't remember him being in Endgame at all.
Yeah, I don't recall Sanada. Hiroki Sanada. Yeah.
He's been in a lot of Hollywood stuff, and in Endgame, when Renner's going off because the blip happened, Renner lost his family, so he's like killing the cartels. He's in Japan. Black Widow's following him.
I remember him more from Wolverine, but anyway, go ahead.
Oh, Wolverine, yeah. Anyways, okay, I really digress there. My point is that he's such an amazing actor, charismatic, and all that stuff, and then he's related to this schlub, the leader. This is his lineage.
Yeah, that's a bad call to not have him, because that's the thing is, if you're not even going to bring this actor back, you should have found a way to pass the baton.
In his defense, though, let's not be too harsh, because there were 60, the 1600s till today. That's 16 generations, something like that. It's not going to be much left of the original. So yeah.
No, I know, but you could have found a much more charismatic actor.
That you could. That's actually one thing, because I think that with this movie, one of their biggest problems, because the things with the script, there were some issues here and there. And some of the casting, they were absolutely spot on, like the guy who played Kano, Scorpion, Sub-Zero. They were fantastic.
Oh yeah,
and the daughter, the wife, Sonya, Jax, they were all great. But some of the more important roles, like Shang Tsung and Raiden, and especially the lead, those three right there. And I mean, absolutely no offense towards the respective actors. There's nothing wrong with their talent, I'm sure, but they weren't the right fits for these roles. The lead actor, and I don't really remember his name, but he just didn't have enough charisma.
Whereas sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he would have been better even. But anyway, and the other two, Raiden and Shang Tsung, it's not that they lacked charisma, but they lacked gravitas.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, you needed somebody with. Jet Li was another one that was brought up. He would have been another great choice for. Raiden as well. That's the thing is you needed somebody that. I don't care if he's a known name, but that's the point. And that's why Christopher Lambert worked so well as Raiden before, was because it's like I said, as soon as he pops on screen, it's like, shut up. It's fucking Christopher Lambert. I want to hear what he has to say.
Or Karayuko Tagawa as Shang Tsung. That was literally the first time I ever saw him in my life. But he was the one standout in the movie because he was wow, so good. so incredibly good in that role.
Yeah,
Like, to me, every other role I've ever seen him in is like
Louis
Shang Tsung.
Yeah, but I thought Kevin Watanabe would have been perfect as Shang Tsung. Like, he has that.
Oh yeah,
just that the in the timbre in his voice and the way he talks. You could have just like flawless victory. You know, just that he has that kind of thing to him. Like, let them fight. You know, and you could even have thrown that in there as a little nod. You know what I mean? Yeah, Tom Hanks was born to play. Well, that's the thing, is it doesn't matter if the rest of the cast is unknowns. You just, those three main characters at least have the gravitas, and then the guy. Shit, I was gonna say, because that's the thing. The main character, it's almost like they just hired some guy out of a cage, some cage fighter who's never acted before. That's what it felt like to me. The main character.
I mean, this guy has tons of credits.
I don't know what he's been in because I've never seen him before. And
I'm looking at him right now.
You have, you just didn't know.
Didn't realize it because he's not out. He doesn't stand out. And my point was this, to go on the daughter thing. Shit, you could have made it that as long as you weren't going to turn him into Scorpion, you could have made it a descendant, a daughter. Hell, it would have been better if it would have been Gina Carano, because at least then I would have bought the character and she has more charisma than this guy. Yeah, because it does. He literally feels like a guy they plucked out of some fucking MMA fight. Like, he's
and yet he's not. It's like, I'm looking at his credits. I mean, this guy's been into the Badlands, been in Deadpool, and he's got a great look. I'm looking at his photos. It's that's the beefcake. But as a leading, it's, again, these are all supporting roles back in the day. When you're a leading man, it's a different animal.
Yeah. And
the boys.
It's like, it's so obvious when you have like a movie that has like the
okay, he played Shatterstar in Deadpool 2. Okay, that's like the biggest role he's pretty much had, it looks like.
And he's a Muay Thai. Yep. I mean, the boy's badass, but I don't know what happened.
He was in Mortal Kombat X Generations. By the way,
saw that too. I mean, I didn't see that. I see the credit.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not saying anything about the look wise, but, and I didn't mind the character. That's the thing, is I understand why Johnny Cage is not in this fucking movie. That makes sense now. But what doesn't make sense is, why did you hire this guy?
Well,
I mean, he may be a great stunt guy. I mean, that's what it kind of looks like, is he probably works more in like, action. He probably roles like Skate Punk 2.
A lot of action roles.
SWAT team. Yeah, exactly.
One line here, one line there, probably. I don't know. I've never seen Into the Badlands. I hear mixed things about that show.
I mean, this is the kind of guy. This is the kind of role you should have got like somebody like Brandon Lee for, like somebody in that position.
who incidentally also was in line to play Liu Kang in the
originally. Yes.
Yeah,
he was one of them.
But that was when he was still alive and kicking.
Yeah, and I don't mean in that position either. I mean in the position of his career at that point, and that's what I mean. Like, he's up and coming. People kind of know who he is. He's got a little charisma to him, which, that's the thing. Brandon Lee had charisma up and down over this guy.
Yeah, and it seems that's going to be the same problem. That's the problem I had with the Shang-Chi trailer. I don't think much of the lead.
Yeah, that just felt like random kung fu movie. That part is true.
As far as his charisma when he was talking, I thought the teenage actor that they show in the trailer, where he's at the temple fighting, you can see his expressions. There's a nice couple of shots of him in the trailer. I liked that version of Shang-Chi just from the trailer. His charisma stood out. I don't know if you remember that.
That whole trailer was so incredibly mad to me that sorry, don't remember. That's completely gone from my mind. Like, I saw that trailer and I literally couldn't tell you what happened in it the instant after seeing it.
Well, we did like a frame by frame breakdown the other day, and there's some pretty good stuff in it. But for me, the lead, the adult version of Sung-Chi is kind of like the same problem with this guy. He's kind of blah, whereas there's a teenager or a young version in the trailer that you see. Hopefully we see a lot of him. He was great. You can just see his expression. It was like, whoa, this guy's like got a look, you know. And
yeah, here you go, Dash DC, whoever I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who played the blind guy in Rogue One would have been great as Raiden too. Yeah,
that's Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen. Yeah.
That's Donnie. Donnie Yen was in Blade 2. I mean, Donnie Yen's been doing movies for decades. Yeah.
I don't want to shift. I don't want to shift the conversation too much, but I want to bring this point up, and I want to, because this is something we constantly see in this, and this might get Rob back into the conversation. One thing I did see, like, okay, Uche Waneri
is it porn?
No, but it's stuff you kind of know about. So Uche Waneri made the point. He's like, did I feel like there was only part of the Mortal Kombat movie? It just felt so small or something like that. He said on Twitter, and I made the joke, oh, you're just being spoiled. You're spoiled because every movie doesn't have to be the Snyder cut. But he does make a point. The movie does have kind of a backdoor pilot feel to it.
It does, and I'm actually really happy about that.
Yeah, and I'm not having an issue with that, but what I do have an issue with is I'm curious if maybe this movie would have been a bit better, or the things that we have some of the issues with, if they had gotten a little bit more experienced director behind it. Because believe it or not, this is this director's first film, period.
No, he did.
Yes. I'm not saying he did a bad job, considering.
He hasn't done anything else. I mean,
he has done nothing else, only a short, and that is it.
Really?
Yes. So that's my question.
But he's had some very, very good producers helping him out.
Yes.
So yeah.
So, but here's my question though: do we think that just maybe this movie would have been a bit better if it had a little bit more experienced director behind the wheel? I think it would have. I think it would have pushed this movie up to that 9-10 caliber, and I think that's where that writer was having issues that came out. And I wish we had Script Doctor here, but he's at work today, I think, because he was talking about this the last few shows about the one writer who was going out against the film, talking, or Greg Russo, who didn't like the changes that were made. And Script agreed that the changes that made hurt the film. So that's, I guess, my question is, do we think that maybe if we had a more experienced director behind this, that the movie could have been that much better?
Depends which one. Depends which director.
Like the Russo brothers, somebody like that, maybe.
Yeah, Russo brothers. Yeah. Then again, you could get a guy who says, no, that's not what I know why.
Or Zack Snyder. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that for something like this, unless you have a director that really, really knows his stuff,
I don't think
I don't have any complaints about the direction. Like the only thing the director could have done was like maybe be like stronger on the story, and like for instance this thing about like the powers, the innate things that had to be wakened up. Well, what's the limitations there? How does that work? Can you like have the power of suddenly having a jetpack? Because it seemed like it when you like your innate powers includes magically generating technology around you. Then what the hell's the limit? I would have liked to know that, because that was like that was a big
one of my other that was one of my other problems. Not so much them gaining powers, but how, and the whole like Jax's power was kind of weird.
Oh god, this writer.
Kano's power kind of came on kind of weird.
Yeah.
And that was kind of weird that they didn't give Kano his faceplate either. It's like, okay, you fixed up Jax. Why didn't the same people just give Kano a faceplate?
Yeah, because that was actually that was like first I was like, wait, what the hell? Okay, because you could always
that's gonna get infected,
laser from his faceplate, but his power being he can now shoot laser from one eye.
It should have been it should have been more of a natural power. See, that's the thing I think too, is that all these powers should have been something that come out a little bit more naturally. But then, when they put that faceplate on or whatever, then maybe the lens they put on there directs the power, kind of like how with Cyclops. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that made more sense. And I liked that those that they built Jack's arms. They didn't really need to do that for his power. They could have gave him something else.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Super strength or something. Like that whole thing with like him becoming cyborg was really dumb. And then again, they also have the problem of the main leads. When his power comes on, it's like they don't really explain, okay, so what is his power? And let's be real, fucking Sonya Blade's fucking power stinks.
What was her power again?
She just like shoots blue light.
So kind of like Jubilee of the X-Men's power, shooting fireworks from her fingers. I don't know. I'd honestly forgotten it.
I mean, that's the thing, is they should have had them all be kind of like this inner power of like, because, if you kind of bring in Scorpion and Sub-Zero to the thing, they have the basis of, water and fire, right?
Yeah.
So like if they based all the powers somehow.
Or fire and ice, even more extreme, but yeah.
And somewhere in there, but if they have like some kind of anomaly, like Jax has that thing on his face, well, you can direct the power, or not Jax, Kano has a thing on his face, he can direct the power, that kind of a thing.
Hey, Tom, I wanted to answer your question. Or was it Andre about the directing of the movie?
That was Tom.
That was me. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I mean, it's incredible that this guy was given this movie to be his first film to direct. That blows me away. I thought he did actually did a really good job. I'm looking at the writers. I don't know, it was 3 writers, not counting the original creators, but one of the writers, the writing was really bad, and it kind of makes sense because one of the writers is known for Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, and that's what Script was saying too. Yeah,
Jesus, yeah. And what's even scary is that he wrote Shang-Chi. Oh my God.
And that's the thing, is that the way Script is saying is like this guy came in and just ruined the script.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
And that's what I mean. If you had a more powerful director, maybe they could have stood in and said, no. That doesn't make no fucking sense. Right. And they would have picked some better casting choices and stuff. But again, this is a movie that was clearly made by committee. I'm not going to, argue that point at all. That's not necessarily in this movie's detriment either. That's a good thing in this case.
No, here's like the thing. Sometimes movies need to be made by committee. Sometimes if you have like an inexperienced director and you have a committee that kind of knows what they're doing a little bit, that doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Well, not so much a committee, but you need someone to step in and say, hey, wait a minute, hold on. This isn't going to work. I always say, I'm a huge fan of the Beatles, but even I know without George Martin to say, wait a minute, fellas, really, you serious? Try something, do something else here. They wouldn't have had even half of the success they did. You do need an experienced voice in the room, just as long as it's not Kathleen Kennedy, to make those decisions.
That's not experience. That's just being in the right places at the right time.
No, but they were in the right places at the right time that they met George Martin. But George Martin was a
no. I mean Kathleen Kennedy. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I said as long as
she didn't soak up any residual talent. Remember that.
No. Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, you do need that filter to go through of people you trust. With anything, I have filters that I go through that I show people, hey, what do you think of this? When it comes to bits that I write, and they offer suggestions. Well, you know what? Maybe tweak it here, a little there. Maybe a little, this change. Oh, okay. You do need someone you trust to be able to say, wait a minute, stop. That's not going to work. And in this case, maybe there wasn't. They just kind of, all right, kid, yeah, do whatever you want. All right, yeah, it's a stupid Mortal Kombat movie. Who cares?
Well, there is a bit of that, but at the same time, there is a bit of oversight for sure. Like, I mean, they clearly made the choice early on to go R-rated, which was the right choice. It's a minimal budget. I don't. What is the budget on this? Because I don't think it's very high.
It's not that high. It's relatively modest. I don't recall the exact budget, but it's of such a range that it easily could have been
$95 million. So yeah, that's pretty.
How the hell did they spend $95 million?
No, that makes sense because they did Deadpool for what, like 70 or whatever it was.
60 million.
Yeah, but then that was my point. Is they ended up turning around and all the artists that worked on the special effects sued the company because they got overworked and didn't get paid. So that's what I'm saying. You cannot make these movies for less than this amount. This is like the bare minimum you can make a movie like this for. And you know what? This movie's going to make its money back.
Oh,
so it don't matter.
Yeah. Totally.
I mean,
I think it's
right in the right region. You keep it under 100 million.
Yep.
Darth
It's going to
Scipio.
be a big hit. Sorry.
Darth Scipio. Yeah, John and Paul ran the show, but George was the map.
Yeah, he was one who would step in sometimes, especially when they had the really stupid ideas.
Yeah. He opened their world.
Please me. Paul said was like a Roy Orbison song, was really slow. Come on, jing, jing, come on. He says, "Nah, come on, boys, perk it up a bit."
Yeah. And then a lot of times they're like, "So what are you going to do here?" You're like, "Just trust me." And then he'd be the one who'd bring in a lot of the orchestral shit.
Yeah, Penny Lane. Paul said, "Oh, I heard this incredibly high trumpet. Can we get that guy? Oh, sure, yeah, let's get him." Yeah, it's a Bach, Brandenburg Concerto, piccolo trumpet. Yeah, we can get him. Yeah.
No, George Martin is a big part of the Beatles. Yes. He's the Kevin Feige of the Beatles.
The sixth Beatle.
George was the one that said we can't put heavy drums on Yesterday. We need to put a string quartet, and that was the moment that everything changed.
But I was ready to play drums.
Sorry, Ringo. You have to take a.
I thought it was called Scrambled Eggs.
It was Ringo, but
they got rid of Clarence.
I was gonna scramble.
I'm still upset about that.
Yeah, Clarence.
I'm still pissed off about that.
Who wouldn't have wanted her? She's got a ticket to ride, and the bitch don't care.
The bitch don't care.
How about you get rid of that?
I'm on all that early stuff, and they took me out.
I'm a modest man. I just need about $7,000.
It wasn't originally "She Loves You," it's "She Loves You." Yeah.
Help me, man.
Help me, man.
Help me, man.
She love you, man.
She loves you, man.
Let me do, man.
Oh, yeah, she loves you, man. Yeah.
It was all sax. It was all sax. They changed it.
Yeah.
When I see them boys,
I don't know if Andre knows this skit.
Yeah, Andre knows what's going on.
One of the Eddie Murphy skits. One of the
great
greatest Saturday Night Live Eddie Murphy skits ever.
They did a
comes
sketch.
on, and he claims he was the fifth Beatle that was cut out because he was black.
Right. And he created all their hits.
He did it all. It was all him. The haircuts, the suits. It was all me.
Paul still used Afro Sheen because of me.
So then he's like, "Wait, I got proof." So he plays a tape,
Yeah.
and it's like the music in the background is the Beatles, and all of a sudden it's just Eddie Murphy on top. She loves you, yeah, yeah, and she loves you, babe. I love you so much,
darling. You know I love you.
You gotta see it. It's one of the best Eddie Murphy.
Listen, I'll play this backwards.
Just you want more proof? You want more proof? It's
and then, so he's got the original tapes, right? So he plays it and you hear the Beatles song, and you hear him clearly
steal all of Clarence's ideas.
Yeah, you hear Eddie Murphy clearly singing over the Beatles song. He's like, yeah, man.
Yeah, come on,
man.
Oh yeah, man.
The commentator's calling his bullshit the whole time, but that's what leads up to the main joke. Is he's like, no, it's in the record. See, if you play it backwards, you can hear it. They're gonna just steal my stuff.
Hey, Paul, let's kick out Clarence and steal all his good ideas.
Good ideas.
Well, there you have it. He's like, there you have it.
Definitive proof.
I can't believe you hadn't seen that, Andre.
No, why would I have seen it?
It's a very
Eddie Murphy, man.
It's Eddie Murphy. Here in America, it's a very famous.
Yeah. And it's on Saturday Night Live, right? Saturday Night Live, yes. Yeah. There you go. That's the reason.
Well, it was decades ago.
If anything, you gotta.
It's not Saturday Night Live now.
It's all 30 years ago. Yeah, I mean,
you gotta check out his Mr. Robinson skit.
That makes it worse, not better.
He did a great sketch. He did a great sketch. Was supposed to be a commentary. It's surprising to me that a lot of people at Consent age are not having sex. The reason being because people are not, they deem too ugly to have sex with. And you know what? And fellas, listen, you make some of the ugliest faces when you're having sex. And make some of the dumbest noises. How many times you walk into a pizza shop, get a slice of pizza, and say, "Oh God, it's so good! Give me another slice! Don't stop!"
Eddie Murphy's got some of the best bits. The other one was a running gag because he was Alfalfa, because he did Alfalfa had an album and all this shit.
Buckwheat.
Buckwheat. I mean, sorry, Buckwheat.
Yeah, come on.
But Alfalfa
in black and white.
Andre's
color. Because I dream in Jello.
Andre's saying right now, this is the last time I work with any Americans ever again.
But like the whole thing was, it happened when Reagan got shot. So they're like, buckwheat has been shot. So they kept interrupting the show.
Of buckwheat.
Buckwheat is dead. Buckwheat dies.
Right.
Well, the funny bit is like every time they'd have somebody on, they're like, Alfalfa, have you seen the tape?
Oh, it was genius.
They could have done a whole 90 minutes on that. I think they did.
It was genius.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. I'm not disputing it. I'm just saying that if it was on SNL, it's very difficult for anyone who wasn't in the US to have seen it.
No, I gotcha.
This is my pristine copy because it's probably still on. It's probably up on the internet. There you go. This is what you got to look for. The best of Eddie Murphy's Saturday Night Live.
Man,
that's some funny shit right there. I had that I had it on VHS and
I'm Velvet Jones.
Oh God.
I
should get that one. That's probably the only one I'd get.
I got a new book, How to Be a Hoe.
She stood at the gates of the Lincoln Tunnel. He knew then as he saw her, the $3.99 he spent on wine would not go to waste. Right then, he knew he'd been kicked in the butt by love.
Man.
Be somebody. Be a hoe.
See what I started?
Be somebody. Be
Clarence.
A hoe. I can turn you into a high-paying hoe.
It's a known fact that a good hoe make $300 a day.
Yeah. And now for something completely different, as we return to Super Chats. Because Spider Unlimited says we got that one. Then it's Roland of Gilead 19 who says, didn't they originally want Brandon Lee as Liu Kang?
Yes, as we mentioned.
And, yes, they did, as we covered. Great. That would have been something, but sadly, like his dad, he left us way too soon. He left the Earth realm way too soon, I should say. And Dash D's says sent us 2 super chats in a row. The first one for 10 Canadian dollars. I'm so happy that Mortal Kombat is a good and true movie. It just proves how good a director Rian Johnson is, how crucial his input is, his clarity of vision, by not being within 1,000 kilometers of the set. And then he says, blind guy from Rogue One could do Raiden. Yes, that's Donnie Yen, isn't it? And he would be great as Raiden. He would be amazing. And Mr.
but I don't think I think it needs to be stressed that even the complaints we have with this film, I would take these kind of complaints any day over the other shit we have to deal with.
You know what?
Except for the lead,
Yeah, what we're talking about here, these are minor complaints in the bigger scheme of things. This was a fun movie.
Yeah.
I had a great time watching it.
Yeah.
How often can we say that these days?
I'll probably watch it this weekend. It
was good. I don't know how you'll feel about all the gore, Rob, but you'll probably enjoy the karate.
Oh yeah. Well, it depends. I mean, is it
That was really good karate in it.
Oh yeah.
It's like horror.
I don't think technically there was any karate in it, but
it's the
martial arts.
Let's not get technical.
Hollywood martial arts.
Here, I got to do this actually on the thing. It's karate. See, in quotations.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, there's good action. It's fun. We're gonna see it again.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm
willing to give it a shot.
If
anybody else, if people are willing to watch freaking Time After Time or anything like that, I'll be willing to watch this. Okay.
Well, have you seen the 95 one?
No.
You never seen the original?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, you know what?
Really?
I really wish you had watched it now, because that's the thing is so many people are going to compare the two, and I hate to say this. This one is the better of the two. I really do hate to say it. As a movie overall, I still like the cast of the original film better.
Overall, but
yeah,
because here's like the thing: if you could like genetically splice the best of the two, that would have been like the best of all worlds. If such a thing were possible.
Well, when was the last time you watched the 95 movie, though, Andre?
From start to finish, that's a couple of years. But seeing clips and bits and pieces just a few months ago.
Because I'll tell you, I've seen it many, many times in my life. It doesn't really hold up.
Yeah.
No,
It does not.
But that's what I'm saying. That like some of the cast is great. Of course, the movie itself, no, that doesn't hold up.
The acting, the special effects, some of that
special
shit
effects are pretty whack now.
does not hold up.
Paul,
and the problem with that is that it had like one of the producers from Terminator 2, and they were too ambitious compared to what they actually could do. And they forgot that all the morphing stuff like that, James Cameron, he deliberately only used it on the metallic thing, on the liquid T1000, because that's something that actually lent itself to what they could do at the time. But to do it something outside of the context of liquid metal, and then the results were never that great in the first place. Like, I don't think the thing that holds up the best special effects wise from that movie as Goro.
Yes.
Goro in that movie, he's good because he's a practical effect.
Yep.
Whereas, for instance, when like a scorpion opens up his hand and he shoots out that thing, I mean, today it looks like it was drawn on top of the image with crayons.
It's bad.
I mean, you have like the actor Chris Casamassa, he's like moving around his hand, and like the thing is still in the same place. So they haven't gotten the tracing right or anything. So they were way too ambitious with special effects, and the end result, the practical effects on that movie are what look good to this day.
Paulie, you familiar with as James Caan put in one time, Mexican judo?
Judo know nothing.
Judo know if I have a knife. Judo know if I have a gun. That's not my joke. Not my joke, people.
Cavatino Cavalryman Shea says, Tom, how was the soundtrack? Good. I already ordered it. I loved the little injections of Techno Syndrome in there. I really enjoyed it.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I wanted more, but it was good.
Yeah, actually, I would have loved a bit more epicness to the Techno Syndrome theme.
The Techno, yeah.
Which, for those who don't know, that's the actual name of the Mortal Kombat theme. Sorry, but yeah, it's called Techno Syndrome. Yes. The dun 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 dun.
Yeah, they played the guard games.
Chun-Li.
Yeah. And now, but since we are talking spoilers and we're on the soundtrack, actually, that theme did make its way into this movie.
A couple times.
Remixed version. What did you think about that?
That's what I was just saying. I enjoyed it. I did.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Me too. I loved it. I was very happy that they chose to include it. Very happy with that.
It's very synonymous. And that's where I've said before about like this whole thing with like, I know you enjoyed the themes in the score to like Man of Steel and stuff, but I have no issues with them bringing back classic scores if they define the characters. I would have much rather had the John Williams score than boom, boom, and great. Now we got a copyright strike from Hans Zimmer.
What about no time? You have to go blah to get a copyright.
That's 20 drums at once.
Remember, like I always point out, hey, Hans Zimmer, I will not have you speak ill of the man who scored The Critic, okay?
He used to be great. I don't know what the fuck happened. Like, too much of his shit is just noise to me now. And the moment I saw he lost it was like, he's like, yeah, I've got a room full of drummers. It's like, you do realize we live in the digital age, right? Like, you could have one drummer do it 20 times. You don't have to have 20 fucking drummers. And really, it's not. And again, okay, it'd be different if it was a horn section, a wind section. Drums all sound the fucking same no matter what.
He wants to feel like he wants to feel like he's commanding an army.
I'm just like, dude, fucking lost it. It's somebody who has way too much money to be doing this shit.
How many people does he have going? Blah.
Too many. 10 girls from Australia probably on didgeridoos.
Wow, like I could have saved the money. So,
yeah, Monkey G. Hans Zimmer just has a cruise. He probably does. And again, I don't want to discourage anybody who doesn't enjoy. I do actually have like the Dark Knight soundtrack and the Man of Steel sound. A few of his, but his classic stuff is just amazing. And then you just listen to his new stuff, and you're just like, "What the fuck happened?" I just don't get it. This is not the guy who did all that stuff before. I just don't know.
A lot of his work is really good up until then.
Like comics, yeah, drum machine. You don't even need drummers anymore. They have drum machines that sound just as good or better in some cases, because do you know how hard it is to mic up drums? It is the hardest thing to mic up. Anyway, Andre, continue with the super chats. We're going.
Yes, getting back to the super chats. We only have a couple of left. Then Mr. Plague Doctor says, "Help me out. Anthony Starr should be Johnny Cage." I have no idea who the hell Anthony Starr is, so I have to look that up. Let's see if Anthony
I'm not
Starr
familiar offhand either. But yeah, that's the best part is they left that pretty ambiguous so they can cast that role accordingly.
He's a New Zealand actor. He looks kind of like Bradley Cooper a little bit. I can't tell from looking at him. You know who? I see the guy who played Homelander.
I believe so, according to people in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, and he's also been like linked to Wolverine at some point. So
yeah, he's Homelander from The Boys, says Natasha, and a few others. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Why not?
I don't have any suggestions offhand, but yeah, you just need somebody with the charisma for it.
The only one that I would say is the guy who should have played Johnny Cage first time around, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Of course, he's way old now, so it would be like an older guy who. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just like bummed that he didn't play the first time around. He was completely miscast as Guile in Street Fighter. I didn't buy him as Guile for 1 freaking second because he wasn't an American. And Guile in Street Fighter needed to be an American. You can't have Jean-Claude Van Damme in that role.
Yeah, you're right. It should have been Arnold Schwarzenegger. Somebody got it.
I'm also at the point where that would have been better, but no, like really, because like in the Street Fighter game, as someone who's not American, Guile was so ultra super duper American, and then have Jean-Claude Van Damme play him on screen was just plain ridiculous. Didn't buy it for 1 second. He was like the worst fit in the whole movie. But if he, on the other hand, had been Luke Cage, how awesome would that not have been? Seeing as Luke Cage was a ripoff of him the whole time.
Well, I actually wasn't he involved in the game originally? I thought.
Not as such. No, he was involved in. Well, yeah, there was something, because
I mean, I
have to read up on the history there, but the whole thing started out with the Universal Soldier game, because that was like what the same Midway guys were doing before they did Mortal Kombat, and then he very well may have had some kind of involvement, because although they've denied it ever since, you see very, very clearly that
because the story I remember,
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Well, yeah, that was the story I remember hearing, and that's why he even wears that one costume that's basically the same fucking costume that, or the shorts anyway, that Jean-Claude wears in what was it, Kickboxer or whatever.
Yeah, and like the same with like his signature like ball punch and everything. That's
exactly from, like, his moves and splits and everything. And that was what I thought I remember hearing. Is you're right, like he was working with the company already, and they were going to build this whole game around him, and that's the whole idea about having the live action pictures stand in for the sprites or whatever. And he was originally, this was supposed to be built around him, but then he backed out or some shit like that. So then
that's what I.
That's what I thought I heard too. And then so then they made Johnny Cage to fill in his character, and it just kind of poked fun at him for the whole thing. And then when it came to the movie, they did offer it again to him for the movie part, but I believe that's why he turned it down and took Street Fighter instead, as a kind of like a final fuck you. Plus, I think they paid him more than what they were offering him for Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, something like that.
Because of course, Street Fighter was a Universal picture, a big old Universal picture.
Yeah. And Hypergiver 2 says Jason David Frank would make a great Johnny Cage. I have no idea who that is either.
They're Bloodsport. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, Bloodsport.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm sure that. Well, he's a bit. Jason David Frank is 47, and that alone makes him like a little bit like not ideal. He's one of the Power Rangers or something.
Who do you guys like for Cage?
Again, I don't have anybody in mind.
I have no idea. Rob, you have to believe. Do you have 3 more minutes, Rob?
Yeah, I got a few more minutes.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'm gonna go through let's see. Actually, that was the last super chat, so we are
caught up?
Fully caught up. Yeah, we're caught up.
Yay!
Yeah.
And Tom, were there any other news today?
There was a little bit. I don't know how much you want to really get into this now, but because we got a little time here before we get too late in the day. Warner Brothers is going to exit physical media. Now, and the reason I say we may not get into this too deep is because I actually sent this to Robert Meyer Burnett, and this is something we've talked about doing a conversation about for a while, and this may be the time to do it. Because this is a real bad blow.
Well, it's
for physical media.
It's not as apocalyptic as it sounds, though.
It is, though, because Warner Media was the last independent physical media studio. Like, they actually do their own Blu-rays and stuff like that. So the fact that they're shutting down their physical production is a big deal. They will still be doing, DVD and Blu-ray releases, but this even just puts a bigger nail in them. A big part of it was the archive, because that was one of the few places that was still doing the remastering of classic films. So that's one thing that Robert and I are very afraid of, is that because Warner actually was one of the better ones as far as taking care of their films. And we're afraid that's not going to happen so much going forward. So I don't know if you want to comment on this real quick, Rob, before you go, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's all the more reason to, just look into getting yourself a good DVD player, maybe get yourself a backup, and get all your favorites on physical media, because we know what the next step is. Even though this is not as apocalyptic as it sounds, it's the first step. Oh yeah, it's the first step.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is that. And I kind of feel like repeating that Surfshark is a good place to go for all your VPN needs. Just want to throw that in there and use the code midnight. But the problem with this. Oh yeah, Script Doctor says.
This is what I was getting at here. Yes.
Yeah. Script Doctor says, this is sad news, as Warner will now outsource their physical media, and we may not get the quality and frequency as we got before.
Yeah.
No, that's what has me worried as well.
Because Warner was actually already helping out, like Sony and Warner were helping out all the other companies. Like, they were doing a lot of this, what would you call it? Outsourced? Yeah, basically outsourced production for all the smaller companies like MGM, and for a while there, Fox and all that kind of stuff. Now Disney, I have no idea what that looks like now. But yeah, so like Sony was handling a lot of that, and then Warner on the other hand was helping out, like, I believe Universal and Paramount and stuff like that. If not, both companies were probably working in tandem with both. Like, there was even a point there where Warner's had they were actually releasing Paramount Blu-rays through Warner. And that was one of the ways they got that first version of the Friday the 13th box set done, actually. Because Paramount just couldn't afford to do it themselves. And this is bad, because most of the American facilities, if not all of them, have been shut down now. I don't know if there even is one now in North America. This may have been the last one. because a lot of them have been backed up for a while because they're all overseas and outsourced to Mexico. So this is not good for American production. It's not good for physical media, and it goes to show what we've been saying for a while is they are doing everything they can to kill physical media. So you are completely dependent on these streaming services.
That they can, and remember, they can change the movies however much they want. If they want to go in and digitally reinsert a new billboard or something in the background of the movie, they totally can. They can change it completely. Oh, there's a scene there that's problematic. We're just going to go and remove that. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Oh my word! We have to cover Daryl Hannah's buttocks. They are offensive.
Yeah, or you have to remove some jokes from Monty Python and stuff like that. So yeah. That's the worry here. Like,
Blazing Saddles doesn't exist anymore.
Oh yeah, that whole thing can be stricken from existence in no time.
Yeah, there's no way you can just edit that.
Yeah, you can't edit it, but what you can do is simply not feature it on any streaming service, and then it's just a matter of waiting out anything out there, and then slowly make it disappear and go away.
Well, and I brought this up too because it also kind of goes in tandem with the other news that we got. That again, without any solid evidence on the numbers, we're just going by what we're told. And that was that the Snyder Cut did very little to boost HBO Max, but on the other hand, they got nearly 3 million new subscribers due to Godzilla vs. Kong. So there was that bit of news as well.
Yeah. And that makes me wonder, how do they decide that they got nothing from the Snyderverse and 3 million from Godzilla vs. Kong? To me, that seems like a very convenient conflating of numbers. So I would like to see how they arrived at that before I get into that claim, especially since I see the claim that the Snyder Cut really didn't bring that many is from an outlet that has written nothing but hit pieces against the Snyder Cut from day one.
And that's why I kind of hedged it in the front with, take it with a grain of salt kind of thing, without any solid evidence.
I think that was Screen Rant. I think it was
comicbook.com. I think I saw it on or whatever.
Yeah, you saw it there, but they picked it up from Screen Rant, and they are someone that, like, when we covered the most egregious reactions to the Snyder Cut being released in the first place, they were right there as one of the worst ones, basically saying that this is the end of civilization, that the Snyder Cut is coming, and they've written nothing but hit pieces ever since. So I question the validity of the claim before I see exactly how it was arrived at. Certainly when in the next sentence we have, but Godzilla vs. Kong, that gave 3 million extra. Yeah, that doesn't quite compute.
Well, it just means in between the time or the right of, and then people watch that is how they probably calculate. But again, without any physical evidence to show me how you came to that conclusion.
Exactly, because these aren't official HBO Max numbers. These are something they've got.
Because the other side of this is what I pointed out before is I said I really don't know if they're going to get a big boost out of the Snyder Cut, because a lot of the people that were on board for the Snyder Cut signed up way back when to show support for it as soon as it was announced. So they were already on board. That was kind of what I was saying. And I think that's possibly where there may be some truth to these numbers. Is that, because most, like 90% of the people that were going to watch the Snyder Cut have already been signed up since last year. So that's why they didn't notice a jump in numbers. But then when Kong versus Godzilla came out, boom, you had, 3 million people who couldn't go to the theater to see it. So they signed up for HBO Max and probably watched it that day. And I didn't have as many problems watching Mortal Kombat as I did with Kong versus Godzilla as far as the you cutting out on me and shit. I did have one time where it went a bit digitized, but that was it. So I don't know how well that's doing. I don't think it'll do as well as Godzilla versus Kong, but hey, I think it'll do all right. Script said he read the report on CNBC too, so maybe that's where they're picking it up from as well.
Yeah, but where did they pick it from? That's what I want to know.
It's hard to say.
The ultimate source.
But Eric Kai says physical media is too expensive. Now, if you mean it's expensive to produce, yes, that is true. But if you're talking about to buy, no, you're getting your ass ripped off more so on digital. Because do you realize that it's so cheap for them to put a movie on digital compared to disc? Like, as I'm saying, if that's what you mean here. And for what they fucking charge for that right now is outrageous.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is, the whole thing, you can comparison shop and whatever you're paying, you could save yourself money, because that's the biggest advantage physical media has over digital is with digital, you are a captive audience. Where are you going to get it? You're going to get it from them. You don't have a choice. Okay, you might be able to get a movie on iTunes, or you might be able to get a movie on the Humble Bundle or whatever. But at the same time, you have only a limited number of sources, and you pay what they want you to pay. If you get a Blu-ray, or you get a 4K, or you get a DVD, you can go to Target, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Best Buy, you can go to help me out here. Who are the other retailers? You can order.
Not many anymore, besides online retailers. That's the thing.
Yeah,
but I will bring up this caveat as well. If you are somebody who's into digital, that's fine. Guess what? 90% of, if not, especially all the brand new movies, you can buy the disc and get the digital version, and then you can store the disc for future, needs, and you don't have to have it out if you're somebody who doesn't have the, the room for it, which I understand. Physical media takes up a lot of room. Fucking trust me, I know. I'm in need of a lot of shelves right now because I've got boxes upon boxes of DVDs and Blu-rays I can't put anywhere. So trust me, I know how that feels, but there are avenues around it.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, man.
But I love my physical. You'll have to rip that shit out of my hands.
No, I hear you.
Like, that's one of those things, like, I'm like Robert Meyer Burnett. It's like, what am I going to do when I'm in those last few years of my life when I can't do shit? I'm going to sit around and watch all my movies is what I'm going to do, basically, so that's kind of where it's at, But I mean, a lot of it I have multiples of just because and this is the problem we're going to see with now the outsourcing of these movies from Warner Brothers is a great example. Is half the reason I have so many copies of some movies is because they don't carry all the special features over all the time anymore. So I have to keep the DVD copy for the special features to go with my Blu-ray.
That's right. All right.
But yeah, so it sounds like Rob is going to leave us. So
and it sounds like somebody else has got something going on too. So all right,
yeah. So take care, Rob.
I got to take care. Yeah, I got to take care of a couple of things actually. Yeah, everybody, thanks for hanging out with us, and thanks to our Wrench Natasha. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to Paulie, Mr. H, Andre, as always. Tom.
Yes.
You guys, if I don't talk to you, everybody have a good weekend. Be good to yourselves and each other. I'll see you later. I'll see you guys later. Okay.
All right. Take care, bud. And the other thing about this is, I mean, I don't know if this is the way he's explaining here, but Script Doctor almost makes it sound like, at least if this is from the CNBC article, that they're saying it's combined numbers for the two. So
to me, I believe that. That's what I'm inclined to believe, because we got nothing from the Snyder Cut, but we got 3 million from Godzilla. I don't buy it. It doesn't pass the smell test. That they got more from Godzilla versus Kong, yeah, that passes the smell test.
It always passes the test if by, like I said, because I could totally see 3 million people signing up for Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah, the other side of it I can also see is that 90% of the people who were going to sign up for Snyder Cut already did. That I can also see. But other than that, no, I see some finagling. But the point I wanted to bring off this and jump off onto was the numbers they have overall, because they're almost up to 70 million subscribers, which means I believe we were right, Andre, about them surpassing Disney. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I think. So
that rumor was true.
Yeah, and I think you were entirely right that they might have done something like this anyway, because by now just through these movies right here, they may now be like number 2 in the streaming race, right?
Well, I'd say 3.
And ahead of 2, 3, but basically they are up there where they should have been all along.
You can never forget Amazon Prime. Everybody forgets the sleeping giant.
Yeah.
I got to remind everybody about that.
Yeah.
Mitch the Bow sends us 10 Canadian dollars. Thank you so much for that. The process of eliminating so-called problematic movies and television series has already begun. This is very true. One example, Lex. Not a single digital service in Canada carries it today. Well, maybe you could find it elsewhere. So could we suggest a VPN to help you explore the other worlds of streaming?
Yeah, exactly.
Surfshark.
VPNs are pretty awesome for that, as Natasha points out. So, yeah. And with that, we are again caught up on Surfsharks. But before we go, there is one more thing that we would like to mention. Now, in the description for this video, there is a Kickstarter campaign. This is for a Star Trek fan production from David Miller. And David Miller, he is a member of our community. And he is in the early stages of planning an animated Star Trek production called Star Trek Amazons. So head on to that description right there. Read up about it, see the video that he has put out, and if this is something that you think seems cool and might be better than the official product, and faces, that's not going to be difficult. So I'm sure David Miller will do great in that. Then check out Star Trek Amazons and see if that's something you want to support on Kickstarter.
There you go.
And the link for that, again, is also in the description. And with that, Tom, was there anything else?
I think there was one thing. The thing I want to say about Amazon is because there was Sander joked about how not if they tank Lord of the Rings. The thing is it doesn't matter what Amazon has; they're already ahead in the race because of Amazon Prime shipping. Because most people have it for that and don't even realize they have the video aspect of it. And not only that, Amazon has positioned itself to basically kill off all the other digital download services besides Apple. Because the only one really left is Vudu. Because the rest have been pretty much been soaked up between Vudu and Amazon. And Amazon hosts most people digital servers now. Like MGM and all these companies go, when you buy a movie, it originates from Amazon now. So they're positioned in a place where when all this shit falls down, they're going to be the number one streamer. Plus they're going to be the number one place you buy all your digital movies from now on. And not only that, they are a hub for all these other streaming services. So it makes it so much easier for you to pay your bill and forget about it and have all these streaming services than it is for paying for them separately. And that's what I think Amazon is banking on.
Yeah, that could very well be. With that, Polly, where can people find you and what should I check out?
We lost Polly, but 1903 has a question for you, Andre. What was the name of that Street Fighter movie you said it was supposed to be awesome earlier?
It's the Street Fighter Assassins. Brain fart. Assassin's
No, you had a
Fist,
brain fart.
Assassin's Guild. Yeah, Street Fighter Assassins something.
You said it at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I know, but Assassin's Fist. Yes,
there you go.
Street Fighter Assassin's Fist. That is awesome. Do check it out.
Paulie, are you there, brother? He is checked out, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Check out Latino Slant.
Yeah. Check him out over at the Latino Slant. Link is in the description.
I'm sure he has something coming up. He always does.
Yeah, he does. Also, check out Mr. H reviews and his car channel, which is also linked to in the description. And with that,
yes,
I would also like to say thank you to every single one who has been here in the chat. That is watching right now, that have been watching this, and I hope you will all enjoy Mortal Kombat if you haven't seen it already. And yeah, I do believe it's time for some koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given.